Chapter 176. After Yinran rushed to the back of the mountain, she got out of the car with an umbrella and ordered several bodyguards to wait below. The bodyguards looked at each other. "Miss Yinran, we're here to protect you. How can you let us go? You guys aren't a match. You'll die if you go up. Wait for me below. If Lin Ling comes down, save her," Yinran said expressionlessly and walked up the mountain without waiting for their reaction. The bodyguards looked at each other and gave each other a look. One of them stayed in the car and waited while the other two secretly followed. In the heavy rain, the back mountain had long lost its usual spiritual energy. At this time, the cliffs and precipices stood erect in the rain. Pieces of strange rocks on the peak of the mountain swayed in the heavy rain. In the darkness, the mountain road was rugged and winding. Yinran walked step by step. After losing her spiritual power, Yinran knew how difficult it was to walk on the mountain road. However, she still struggled to climb up, wanting to reach the shadow at the top of the mountain as soon as possible. "You're finally here. You're too slow. I can't wait." She couldn't see anything clearly in the heavy rain. Yinran didn't see Huagang until she reached the top of the mountain. He was leaning in the shadow of a big rock, accepting the baptism of the rain. He had an evil smile on his face, as if he was still holding a glass of precious red wine in his hand. The light from the glass shone on his face, making him feel comfortable and satisfied. "Where's Lin Ling?" Yinran asked directly. "You're still the same. You always put the lives of humans first. Why didn't you greet me first?" Huagang walked out of the shadow. At this moment, Yinran realized that Huagang's clothes were tattered. A large part of his skin was exposed. Her eyes narrowed. "Did he break through? Where's Lin Ling?" Yinran asked again. "She's there. She's unlucky today. It's raining heavily, and she was still wandering around the mountain. She happened to meet me." Huagang pointed at Lin Ling, who was hiding behind the rock. Yinran quickly went up and ran over. At the same time, she set up a formation behind her. Huagang was instantly included in the formation. Yinran was about to help Lin Ling leave, but she saw Huagang, who disappeared, appear in front of her in a few seconds. Yinran was alarmed. "Not good." As expected, Huagang said, "Aren't your insignificant skills showing off in front of me now?" After saying that, Huagang swept over with a strong wind, and the two bodyguards behind Yinran fell out of their hiding places. Yinran quickly calmed down. "You guys came at the right time. Send Lin Ling back." "Miss Yinran, this person doesn't look normal. Come with us." "Ha ha ha." Huagang grabbed with his right hand, and Yinran was pulled into his arms. "She won't be able to leave tonight." The two bodyguards couldn't stand it anymore, and were about to go up when Yinran yelled, "Don't worry about me. Take Lin Ling and go down the mountain." The two bodyguards didn't want to give up at all. One of them charged up, but Huagang waved his hand lightly, and a huge force came and sent him rolling down the mountain. The other bodyguard was dumbfounded. Yinran yelled, "Take Lin Ling and leave." That bodyguard stomped his feet and ran down the mountain with Lin Ling on his back. "Tell me, when can you change your character of taking responsibility for everything by yourself? If you were more cold-hearted today, would you have fallen into my hands? What does that Lin Ling have to do with you? Don't you usually stay in the dorm at school? You should give your bodyguards a raise. They have helped you a lot. Otherwise, I would have caught you long ago." Huagang held Yinran in his arms and whispered intimately, as if he was whispering to his lover. Yinran's whole body was stiff, and the hand that was hugging her waist was like a red-hot iron ring. In this torrential rain, the temperature did not decrease in the slightest, and she was firmly imprisoned inside. "I asked you to come today, because I have a piece of good news to share with you. Not long before you came, I broke through to the Great Void State. Did you see the phenomenon in the sky? That's for me." Huagang was in a great mood. He didn't even realize that his mouth was full of rainwater. It was just as Yinran thought. No wonder his clothes were torn. He really broke through. He could escape last time, but it seemed that it would be difficult today. "How is it, Yinran? I'm very strong now. Why don't you consider following me? Even if I can't marry you, you have the right to stay by my side. In your dreams. Don't even think about it." Yinran's eyes blazed as she spat out a few words from between her teeth. Your little mouth is so stubborn. Come, let me have a taste. What does it taste like? Huagang leaned over and kissed Yinran's sexy lips. Yinran couldn't move at all. She could only grit her teeth and let Huagang do whatever he wanted. Huagang tried for a long time, but couldn't pry open Yinran's mouth. He moved away a little. What? You're as hard as a piece of wood. Relax, don't be nervous. Today, we'll use the sky as our blanket and the ground as our bed. How about we do it on the peak of this mountain? F***ck your uncle. What the hell is this? Xiao Xiao suddenly jumped up from the pile of insects. Kong Xiaoming's teeth chattered up and down. He said with a trembling voice, "It seems to be a pile of insects." He held Kong Ming's hand tightly. "I have trypophobia. I get goosebumps all over when I see these insects. Don't talk about you. Even I feel the same. Fortunately I have armor. Otherwise it would be disgusting." Xiao Xiao shook up and down with all his might. He quickly shook off the insects around him. "Hurry up and use your ultimate move. There are so many insects. It's so itchy." Kong Xiaoming kept scratching up and down. It was as if the insects had already climbed onto his body. Xiao Xiao didn't talk nonsense anymore. He used Flying Fire Meteor, Mana Critical Strike in Wind Ride. The pile of insects was on fire, but the effect was minimal. After stewing for a while, there were only a few insects that were crushed or burned to death. Not to mention the Mana Critical Strike. Xiao Xiao stretched out his arms and punched those big magical beasts with his enlarged fists. It was really a punch to the flesh and bone. But it was this miniature insect that slid down Xiao Xiao's fist like it was covered in lubricant. When Xiao Xiao wasn't paying attention, it went around to the back of Xiao Xiao and desperately hit the armor. Xiao Xiao tossed and turned for a long time, but he didn't get a single crystal core. It's better to fight big magical beasts. This small one is like a mosquito. It only buzzes in your ear. No matter how you hit it, it won't die. Have you forgotten about your new ability? You have to learn a new skill in order to pass each level. Kong Ming reminded. I see now. This yin-yang formation was designed for me by the people of the demon realm. They forced me to master it before letting me out. I feel my father's figure here. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said, "He's not afraid that I'll stay here for too long. His son's crown princess will run away with someone else. Can't you marry a lot of concubines in the demon realm? Of course your father isn't worried." Kong Xiaoming reminded him in the bracelet. There are so many concubines. Which one is better than Yinran? No, I have to go out quickly. It's been so long. It'll be bad if she forgets me. Xiao Xiao calmed down and recited the mnemonic of the sixth skill, Flying Sand and Rolling Stone. Suddenly, a patch of gray appeared in the blue sky in the distance. It kept extending forward, becoming bigger and wider. It blocked the sun and covered the sky like a blanket of the night god. Slowly approaching, it was like a yellow dragon rising. The sound was like a cow's roar, like thunder rolling. A trembling yellow line was getting wider and wider. Then the sky darkened. Flying sand and rolling stones, the wind roared. The sky was full of yellow sand and stones dancing in the sky. In an instant, the sky was full of miasma and fell straight to the ground. Damn it, a sandstorm. Dream on, don't think about it. Yinran's eyes were full of fire. She squeezed out a few words from between her teeth. This little mouth is so stubborn. Come, let me have a taste. What does it taste like? Huagang leaned over and kissed Yinran's sexy thin lips. Yinran couldn't move. At this time, she could only clench her teeth. Unable to resist, she could only let Huagang do whatever he wanted. Huagang tried for a long time, but he couldn't pry open Yinran's mouth. He moved away a little. What's wrong? You're as hard as a piece of wood. Relax, don't be nervous. Today, with the sky as the medium and the ground as the bed, the two of us will have sex on the top of this mountain. What do you think? Damn it, what the hell is this around? Xiao Xiao suddenly jumped out of the pile of insects. Kong Xiaoming's teeth chattered. He said with a trembling voice, "It seems to be a pile of insects." He held Kong Ming's hand tightly. "I have trypophobia. Seeing these insects makes my hair stand on end. It's not just you. Even I feel the same way. Thankfully I have armor. Otherwise, I would be disgusted to death." Xiao Xiao shook her body up and down with all her might to shake off the surrounding bugs. Hurry up and use your ultimate skill. There are so many insects, I'm itching to death. Kong Xiaoming kept scratching up and down, as if the insects had already climbed onto his body. Xiao Xiao didn't talk nonsense anymore. He used Flying Fire Meteor, Mana Critical Strike, and Wind Riding. The pile of insects burned brightly, but the results were minimal. After a while of stewing, there were only a few insects that were crushed or burned to death. Not to mention the Mana Critical Strike. Xiao Xiao stretched out his arms and punched those big magic beasts with his enlarged fists. His punches really hit the flesh, and the sound of his punches penetrated the bones. But it was this miniature insect that slid down Xiao Xiao's fists, as if its body was smeared with lubricant. When Xiao Xiao wasn't paying attention, it went around to the back of Xiao Xiao and hit the armor with all its might. Xiao Xiao tossed and turned for a long time, but he didn't get a single crystal core. It's better to hit the big magic beasts. This small one is like a mosquito, only buzzing in your ear. No matter how you hit it, it can't be killed. Have you forgotten about your new ability? You have to learn a new skill in order to pass each level. Kong Xiaoming reminded. I can see now that this yin-yang formation was designed for me by the people of the demon realm. They forced me to master it before they let me out. I feel my father's figure here. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said, he's not afraid that I'll stay here for too long and his son's crown princess will run away with someone else. Can't you marry a lot of concubines in the demon realm? Of course your father isn't worried. Kong Xiaoming reminded him in the bracelet. So many concubines, which one is better than Yinran? No, I have to go out quickly. It's been so long. It'll be bad if she forgets me. Xiao Xiao calmed down and recited the mnemonic of the sixth skill, Flying Sand and Stones. A gray color suddenly appeared in the blue sky in the distance. It constantly extended forward, became bigger and widened. It was like a blanket of the night god blocking the sun and covering the sky. It slowly approached, like a yellow dragon rising. The sound was like the roar of a cow, like the rolling of thunder. A trembling yellow line was getting wider and wider. Then the sky darkened. Flying sand and stones, the wind roared. The sky was full of yellow sand and stones dancing in the sky. In an instant, the sky was full of miasma and fell straight to the ground. Damn, a sandstorm. Chapter 177. Just as Xiao Xiao was determined to become an inventor, Yinran encountered the biggest crisis. The storm gradually subsided, and Huagang had already embraced her. The two of them were tightly pressed against each other. The umbrella had long since flown away, and their wet clothes were all stuck to their bodies. Huagang did not leave a single gap for Yinran. Yinran closed her eyes in despair. Her whole body was imprisoned, and she could not move at all. Even her tongue was not listening to her. Biting her tongue to commit suicide had become a luxury. Tears mixed with the rain fell from the corners of her eyes. Yinran felt her fragility for the first time. Huagang's lips and tongue had already been wildly wreaking havoc on her neck. A feeling of extreme disgust rose from the bottom of her heart. Huagang was already trembling with excitement. The feeling of being able to control everything made his heart feel extremely good. His wish was finally about to come true. The original goddess was about to become his plaything. He had already imagined hundreds of ways to torture her, to make her lofty and noble, to make her look down on him. The black factor in his blood had already surged wildly, rushing to his limbs and bones, and then passed to Yinran through his lips and tongue. He suddenly had a bloodthirsty impulse. He fiercely bit Yinran's neck. A sharp pain rushed to Yinran's head, and she whimpered. But it was this sound that seemed to ignite the tyrannical factor in Huagang's body. He bit down hard on Yinran's neck, and the rusty blood flowed into Huagang's mouth. He sucked hard and swallowed with his own saliva. Then Yinran saw Huagang's eyes turn red, and his bloody mouth let out a crazy laughter without restraint. He was simply a devil in the world. Just as this devil was about to do something even crazier, suddenly there was a puff from afar. Huagang's body suddenly stiffened, and he paused for only a second before his body fell back. Yinran looked in the direction of the sound, and saw a bodyguard-like person holding a gun in his hand, pointing it in Huagang's direction. Little Six. Yinran's body was still trembling, but at this time she could already move. She staggered and sat on the ground. Her neck was bleeding a lot, and it made her dizzy. At this time, little Six hurried forward. Yinran, are you okay? Yinran smiled weakly at him. Thank you, little Six. After that, she softly fell to the ground. When Yinran woke up again, she was in a luxurious and familiar room. It was not her bedroom, but Xiao Zhao's house that she had been to many times. This was the room that Uncle Wu had prepared for her. The beautiful carved wooden window was embroidered with a thin curtain. There were red tables and chairs, a delicate dressing table, and a bookcase that filled the entire wall of the room. Warm sunlight penetrated through the vermilion carved wooden window and scattered on a propped-up guqin. The pink gauze curtain seemed to bring in some flower petals from outside the window with the wind, gently brushing against the strings like a slender jade hand. Under the sunlight, it seemed as if there were wisps of smoke rising in spirals, wrapping around the gauze curtain and filling the entire room. Yinran sat up and found that the wound on her neck had been bandaged. Her body was still a little weak, and her head was a little dizzy. She supported herself on the wall and walked to the bathroom. Only then did she find that she was a little scary in the mirror. There was no trace of blood on her pale face, and the dark circles under her eyes hung on her face like thick ink. Her cold eyes were dim at this moment. Her sharp little face was now even smaller. She was wearing a nightgown that she had worn before. At that time, it was just right, but now it seemed a little wide. She turned around, and the two shoulder blades on her back were especially prominent. She looked a little bony. Yinran smiled bitterly. The gap between her and Xiao Xiao was really huge. She went downstairs and saw little Six sitting in the living room. Little Six stood up excitedly. Sister Yinran, are you feeling better? Yinran nodded and sat down. Little Six, why were you the one who saved me? Little Six poured a cup of tea for her. It's such a coincidence. Ever since the Southern noble family disbanded, I had nowhere to go. This security company was hiring, so I applied. Last night, your bodyguards happened to be from my team. After they saved you, they had no choice but to call me. When I rushed over, I found that it was you and Huagang. Yinran's eyelashes trembled. Little Six, is your spirit force still there? Yes, my spirit force is still there, but I was only yellow mystic before. Those Eastern noble family people looked down on me, and I didn't want to be associated with them, so I left the organization. That's good as long as you're safe. The Southern noble family only lasted until today, because their opponents were too strong, and Huagang betrayed them. Little Six felt sad. Sister Yinran, is your spirit force really gone? Yes, Grandpa and I were both fed spirit pills. Yinran stated the truth calmly. Little Six gritted his teeth. These bastards, they actually use such despicable means. If they have the guts, then fight fair and square. We've thought too highly of this world. We didn't expect that there would be so many demons among the cultivators. They have demons in their hearts, yet they still protect humans under the banner of justice. Their actions are even more vicious than the demons. What is righteous? What is evil? Does a cultivator have to be righteous? Sister Yinran, we were really too naive. Originally, I thought that we were existences higher than humans, but in our world, we are also divided into different levels, righteous and evil. However, I will not lose the faith that I have had since I was young. I think this is just some demons causing trouble, and one day, someone will come and take care of them. Little Six said with righteous indignation. Little Six, I didn't expect you to be such a wise person. Huagang's incident made me lose my judgment of human nature. He used to be our comrade in arms and brothers, and we grew up together. I didn't expect that I would be so blind. Xiao Xiao warned me before, but I didn't believe him. My ears were blocked and my eyes were blinded, resulting in the current situation. Last night, he was simply the incarnation of a demon. The most terrifying thing is that he is now in the virtualization stage. After Yinran finished speaking, she painfully buried her face in her hands. Sister Yinran, it's a pity that our security company is only equipped with tranquilizer guns. Yesterday, we didn't kill that damn Huagang. Yinran raised her head. Huagang won't die so easily. Yesterday, I didn't think that I would be able to escape. I was already prepared to die. Sister Yinran, I will personally protect you in the future. I won't let him hurt you even if I have to risk my life. Little 6. Now we can only use the rules of humans to find a way to avoid him. In public, he won't dare to use any tricks. Don't fight him head-on. Protect your own life. Little 6 also knew the difference between him and Hui Gang. The difference was like heaven and earth. It was like an egg hitting a rock. Sister Yanran, is this Xiao Xiao our employer? Yes, this is his home now. His butler, Uncle Wu, hired you to protect me. Then he is really good to you. The fee he pays is enough to protect the head of state. You are our VVIP client. Where is he now? Why don't I see him? I also want to know where he is now, but I think he should be back soon. He won't let me wait for too long. Xiao Zhao's simple magnifying glass was finally completed. It was not easy for him to find 2 transparent round pieces in the wasteland full of insects. He did not know what material they were made of. He used a dagger to cut them into palm-sized circles. The 2 pieces were stacked together. Then, he thought of a way to thin the edges with a sharp stone. The next step was the most difficult. He needed to stick the edges with glue. The most difficult part was where to find glue in this wasteland. Xiao Xiao remembered reading a book that said, boiling animal skin with water can make a good glue. So, Xiao Xiao went to get a piece of animal skin and started doing chemical experiments according to the method in the book. A piece of freshly peeled animal skin must be used as soon as it was peeled. Wash it clean, heat it to remove the hair and oil, cool it down and boil it. After softening the animal skin, Xiao Xiao used a dagger to chop the animal skin into foam, then boiled and cooled it down. Finally, after countless experiments, a little bit of glue was made. Xiao Xiao smeared the glue on the edge of the round piece, leaving a small opening. Then, he poured water into the small opening and sealed it with glue. Xiao Xiao looked at it. Haha, success. He picked up the body of an insect and put it under the self-made magnifying glass. The original small head finally revealed its true appearance. Damn! It was 10,000 times uglier than the boars in the demon realm. Xiao Xiao pointed the tip of the dagger at the head and slid it gently. Then, a shiny crystal core was brought out. It was like a feather floating in the air. Xiao Xiao grabbed it. It was almost weightless, but it was this inconspicuous thing that decided his future path. Kong Xiaoming praised. Xiao Xiao really did it. People say that a man who works seriously is the most handsome. Your serious look just now almost tempted me. Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes at him. Don't make trouble for me. Our Yanran is very jealous. Then one by one Xiao Xiao failed. But fortunately there were all kinds of insects. Finally, the insects' corpses all over the ground were floating with colorful crystal cores. Under the sunlight, it formed a dreamy world. After an unknown amount of time, after countless sunrises and sunsets, Xiao Xiao was intoxicated by the dreamy world he created. He slept soundly. The crystal cores in the sky were like fireflies circling around him. Under the sunlight, each crystal core reflected Yanran's smiling face. He was pouting and moving towards Yanran's little face. Suddenly, the voice of the array spirit sounded again. Congratulations to Flying Flame Meteor Xiao Xiao for collecting 1,000 crystal cores. You have successfully entered the next level. Ancient Battlefield. Xiao Xiao woke up instantly. Ancient Battlefield? What the hell is this? Can't you let me finish kissing Yanran first? Looking at the changes in the surrounding scene, the crystal cores all disappeared and were replaced by earth-shattering shouts and endless spraying of blood. Chapter 178. On the ancient battlefield, the bugle horn was whistling in the sky, cutting through the thunder and lightning. The bloody smell was spreading above the noisy ruins. The piles of broken bodies were hideous and terrifying. The thick smell was almost suffocating. Xiao Xiao was currently immersed in the heavy breathing of the magical beasts. Around him, there were 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. There were no less than 100 of them. Even a gust of wind couldn't blow away the stench lingering in his nose. He had already used all the spells he had learned to fight with these magical beasts for 300 rounds. Everywhere he went, broken eaves and broken arms were already piled up into a small mountain. He originally thought that this level would also require him to obtain the crystal core. But he didn't expect that the magical beasts he killed would have nothing in their heads. Their eyes were also empty. They were like fighting machines without consciousness. They only knew how to roar like trapped beasts, wanting to perish together with Xiao Xiao. After an unknown amount of time, Jojo could no longer fight. He covered his entire body with the guard armor and the raging flame armor. In the midst of the smoke and dust, he finally collapsed from exhaustion amidst the remaining flames. Countless magical beasts continued to attack him dauntlessly, and the scraping sound of their claws rubbing against his armor incessantly stimulated his eardrums. He wanted to rest for a while, and then fight again, but after a few repetitions, he just wanted to bury himself deep in the armor. He didn't want to endure the endless battle of attrition. Kong Xiaoming, I don't think I can pass this level. I didn't find a single crystal core. Could it be that you want me to kill all the magical beasts on the battlefield? Kong Xiaoming blinked his mouth and looked at the vast ancient battlefield. I estimated that if you kill all the magical beasts on the battlefield now, it would take at least 10 days to half a month. But I just discovered a terrifying thing. More than half of the magical beasts you killed before have come back to life. They are now moving towards your position. Xiao Xiao couldn't believe it. You mean they can't be killed? I think so. Look at this wave of demonic beasts, and the last wave of demonic beasts. Even the length of their fangs is the same. There is also a knife mark on their heads that you dug out. Kong Xiaoming pointed at the demonic beasts in front of them, and showed them to Xiao Xiao. F***CK. It was a war of attrition that would never end. Why didn't they fight each other? How do they know that I'm the only enemy? Xiao Xiao couldn't help but feel frustrated. In your words, they were jealous of your beauty, so they wanted to tear you to pieces. Originally, it was Kong Xiaoming who was mocking Xiao Xiao, but after Xiao Xiao heard it, he was very pleased. Your reason is reasonable. You finally spoke the truth. Kong Xiaoming threw a health ball at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao thought of the third stage. Originally, when he was in the air, he felt too lonely. Only after arriving here did he realize that loneliness could be so beautiful. What's the next skill? Demonic power. Good. Are you forcing me to use my trump card? Let me see how powerful the demonic power is. Xiao Xiao sat up in the armor and silently recited the incantation. A golden light passed through the armor and flew into the sky. Then, it formed a cluster of fireworks in the sky and scattered all over the ancient battlefield. The golden light landed on the ground. Stone becomes soldier. Suddenly, many strange-looking soldiers appeared from the ground. They held long swords in their hands and wore armor. They stood majestically in place. Xiao Xiao, look. The demonic power has manifested. Kong Xiaoming pointed at the soldiers that suddenly appeared and shouted. The surrounding demonic beasts also noticed the abnormality. They felt a huge sense of crisis towards the soldiers that suddenly appeared. Without needing Xiao Xiao to drive them away, these demonic beasts spontaneously rushed towards the soldiers. Good fellow, I've come to help. Xiao Xiao jumped up and down in the armor. Just as he was about to admire a truly evenly matched battle, he saw these demonic beasts tear Xiao Xiao's stone, become soldier into pieces. Xiao Xiao's cheering came to an abrupt end. He stared dumbfoundedly at the scene before him. The situation on the battlefield was completely one-sided. The soldiers, who looked majestic, stood motionless like dumb geese. They didn't even know how to use the swords in their hands to defend themselves. They just let these magical beasts wreak havoc on their bodies. What's going on? Why don't these people move? This is the demonic power. Are the demonic beasts all fools? Xiao Xiao anxiously pointed at these wooden figures and cursed. How can a skill be completed by reciting the incantation? You're thinking too easily. The first 2 levels were only for armor, so you didn't need to command others. But now, you need to use your magic to command thousands of troops in a war. You should think about it carefully. Kong Ming couldn't stand it anymore and explained to them. Xiao Xiao watched as the demonic beasts he worked so hard to create disappeared in the blink of an eye. His heart was bleeding. After annihilating the enemies, these demonic beasts all charged towards Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao looked at the magical beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth on the vast ancient battlefield. They were like planets that were forever attracted to the sun, revolving around him. He wanted to die. There was nothing he could do. He could only continue to ponder. After Yinran recovered, she went to school normally again. She didn't know much about what happened that night. She just remembered that when she was waiting for the bus, she suddenly fainted. Bai Shui and Dan Yao told her that it was Yinran who sent the driver to pick her up. This incident didn't arouse too much suspicion and passed just like that. Yinran returned to her dorm after about a week. After that, she lived a more secluded life. Unless it was necessary, she wouldn't go out alone. Other than going to class and eating, she would stay in her dorm. Bai Shui and Dan Yao wanted to drag her out to shop, but she tried to find excuses to reject them. But even so, some people still didn't let her go. Unknowingly, a video suddenly appeared on the school's forum. It was the video of Hua Gang and Yinran at the nightclub. Originally, only the students of Nanchuan Middle School saw this video. Now, it caused a huge uproar on the Nanchuan University's forum. However, the focus was no longer on high school students dating. Instead, it was on Yinran being a person who didn't mean what she said. Some people packaged Yinran's bold words at the start of school with this video and compared it. The words of packing Hua Gang and gifting it to you were still ringing in her ears. So the two were already this intimate before. Yinran was really a scumbag girl. Everyone started to sympathize with Hua Gang. So Hua Gang's goddess really was her. But the most restless one was Yinran, who had been hiding in her dorm. Other than a few roommates, the other girls in the dorm all looked at Yinran differently. Bai Shui often complained to Dan Yao and Lin Ling. She also heard people say bad things about Yinran in the washroom. She had argued with them many times. Today, Bai Shui was so angry that she cried. She couldn't take it anymore and ran into the dorm to Yinran. Yinran, do you want to refute a rumor online that the video is fake? That video is real. But I didn't do it willingly, Yinran said calmly. Then what happened? Can you tell us? We're all worried about you. You don't know how nasty those people outside are. Bai Shui was already wiping her tears. You don't have to care about what they say. I have nothing to do with him. And I don't want to have anything to do with him. Yinran was expressionless. Then, will your boyfriend misunderstand? Dan Yao asked softly. He won't. He definitely won't. Don't worry. Yinran thought for a moment and gently smiled. Yinran ignored it. But some people didn't let her have an easy time. Someone exposed the news on Tieba. #scumbag girl suspected of being kept. She even has a bodyguard at school. The posts quickly built a skyscraper. Milk tea is delicious. No wonder even the school hunk doesn't like her. She's being kept. Library seat holder. Girls nowadays are really snobbish. Embarrassing university students. School hunk is my brother. My brother is still infatuated with this scumbag girl. So pitiful. Bunny ate watching spiders. This scumbag girl is still living in school. Don't lead other girls astray. Lemon's guard, get out of school. Where your heart desires, get out of school +1. Yinran's reputation in school was completely ruined. These indiscriminate spectators didn't understand the situation at all, and just followed suit. As Yinran's roommates, Bai Shui and the others were also rolled their eyes by most people. They were gradually isolated in the dormitory. On this day, Yinran and the others returned to their dormitory after class. Before they put down their bags, they heard Dan Yao scream. It attracted the attention of the entire dormitory. There was a large cockroach crawling on Dan Yao's bed. Yinran's bed was filled with more rustling sounds. Yinran looked up and saw a group of cockroaches crawling happily on her bed. What was even more exaggerated was that more than 10 huge cockroaches had burrowed onto Yinran's pillow and blanket. At this moment, there was a pile of leftovers on her bed. Bai Shui and Lin Ling rushed out of the dormitory and rushed to the toilet. Then they heard the sound of them vomiting. There were many spectators who took out their phones to record this scene. Soon the school forum exploded. Passerby, this is too disgusting. I can't live in this room anymore. Past reset. Only disgusting people would attract disgusting things. Flowers bloom in the city for you. Birds of a feather flock together. This dormitory is poisonous. Lemon's guard, scumbag girl and cockroach, perfect match. Where your heart desires, scumbag girl, get out of school. Bunny ate watching spiders, scumbag girl, get out of school +1. Yinran looked coldly at this scene. The students behind her were all pointing at her. At this moment a girl said, "Yinran, I say, you shouldn't live in the school. Even cockroaches are looking for you. Don't let the whole floor be filled with them." Yinran looked coldly at this girl. She remembered that she was the one who brought Hua Gang to get back at her. She directly pushed through the crowd and invited the property management teacher to come up and resolve this matter. The cockroaches were finally cleaned up. The spectators were also chased away by the teacher. However, a few people in the dormitory looked at Yinran with tears in their eyes. "Yinran, you're a local. How about you go home for a while?" Chapter 179. On the ancient battlefield, smoke filled the air as the sounds of battle shook the heavens. However, the situation was completely one-sided. The soldiers that Xiao Xiao created with stone transmutation were like vegetables on a chopping board. They were sliced into countless pieces by the demonic beasts. Broken limbs and remains rolled everywhere. Xiao Xiao constantly recited the incantation in his heart. The only thing that could be achieved was that new soldiers kept emerging from the ground. Just like the magical beasts on the battlefield, they could never be completely killed. What should I do? If this goes on, my magical power won't be able to support it. Xiao Xiao clearly felt that the demon power skill consumed a lot of his spiritual power. It was indeed very strenuous for one person to command so many people. At this time Kongming said, "I think you've made a mistake. Think about it. These people should have been summoned with the power of the demon race, but you've been using your spiritual power. After all, there's a difference between spiritual power and spiritual power. Your soul attraction technique is now at the 8th level of enlightenment. Only after you break through to the 9th level can you combine your spiritual power and magical power to use your magical power to command the power of the demon race." After Kong Ming's advice, Xiao Xiao was enlightened and immediately figured out the mystery. He looked up to the sky and roared, "Watch the return of the demon crown prince." Then he used the soul concealment technique and guided the aura to flow through his body. Under the effect of the soul concealment technique, the magical energy and spiritual power were originally in harmony. However, at this time, the two forces intertwined in his body and formed two torrents. The little tadpoles in Xiao Xiao's mind were also disturbed by this torrent. They moved up and down along the direction of the torrent. The two forces collided with each other and formed a whirlpool. A strong suction force swept the little tadpoles into the whirlpool and into the bottomless world of the deep sea. "Xiao Xiao, come on, twist magical power and spiritual power together, and come out from the top of your head." Kong Ming shouted in the space. At this time, Xiao Xiao's forehead began to sweat. He never knew that spiritual power and magic power had formed such a powerful force in his body. The two forces did not give in to each other, colliding and tearing in his body. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels had been squeezed and displaced, making him feel uncomfortable and nauseous. Xiao Xiao used his mind to guide the devil qi and spiritual power towards his Baihui acupoint. But the two forces that had already formed a whirlpool in his body did not listen to his command at all. At this time, they were scattered all over his body. In his mind, Xiao Xiao could hear the banging sounds of his blood vessels and bones. It was 2F** King uncomfortable. He had armor to protect his body on the outside, so no magical beast could attack him. But he didn't expect that he would be beaten black and blue on the inside. Xiao Xiao had no other choice. He kept calling out to the tadpoles in his mind. They were the only ones left in his body. But the tadpoles had already been swept away by the whirlpool. Xiao Xiao endured the endless torment and used his inner vision to observe the two forces that were about to erupt from his body. He couldn't control them at all, and couldn't move them to the Baihui acupoint at the top of his head. Kong Ming anxiously paced left and right in the bracelet. "This won't do. You'll be killed by these two forces. Let's change the method. Guide these two forces into your dantian, and let Jin Dan guide them to the Baihui acupoint." Xiao Xiao had no other choice now. He could only listen to Kong Ming's instructions and use his mind to guide the two forces to his dantian along his meridians. "Follow my chant. Hands 3 in. Go from the chest to the hand. Hands 3 yang, go from the hand to the head. Foots 3 yang, go from the head to the foot. Foots 3 yin, go from the foot to the abdomen. Xiao Xiao listened to Kong Ming's instructions and focused all of his mind to guide the two forces along the hands 3 yin meridians from the chest to the tip of the fingers, crossing the hands 3 yang meridians. Then from the tip of the fingers to the head and face, crossing the foot's 3 yang meridians. Then from the head and face to the tip of the toes, crossing the foot's 3 yin meridians. Then from the toes to the abdomen and chest, crossing the hands 3 yin meridians. The cycle went back and forth, gradually forming a cycle of yin and yang intersecting, like a ring without end. Finally, the two forces gradually listened to Xiao Zhao's instructions. After repeating the cycle countless times, they obediently went towards his dantian. It wrapped, circled, and rotated around the gold elixir, as if it was injecting the greatest nutrients in the world into the gold elixir. The originally smooth surface of the gold elixir became even rounder and more lustrous, like the fat of sheep. In Xiao Zhao's dantian, it emitted a sacred golden light. Now's the time. Go. Following Kong Ming's loud shout, Xiao Xiao took the opportunity to lift up Jin Dan from his dantian, following the meridians towards the top of his head's Baihui meridian. And during this operation, he found that the small tadpoles scattered everywhere were slowly waking up and beginning to flow back into his brain. He saw the two forces intertwining, you and me you, slowly penetrating each other and gradually fusing into one. At the same time, they also gathered unlimited energy, all for the final moment to rush to the top. The small tadpoles finally realized the responsibility they had to bear. At this time, the 18 arhats had already turned into 18 golden arhats, under the illumination of Jin Dan. They gathered all of the energy in their bodies and summoned all of the tadpoles to set up the golden arhat formation in their minds, all for the final attack. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming nervously watched this moment. Finally, the two forces were led to the vicinity of the Baihui meridian by Xiao Xiao. At this time, they could no longer see whether the black or white qi was mixed together. Kong Ming was overjoyed. Whether we succeed or not depends on this final attack. The two forces formed by the devil qi and spiritual power gathered around the Baihui meridian, desperately striking upwards. But it was as if their throats were being strangled, they couldn't get out. They were like two swimming dragons, wanting to swim out of the gate to the blue sky and the sea. Xiao Xiao, you can do it. Open the armor, and send the two forces out. When Xiao Xiao heard this, he realized that there were still countless magical beasts around him, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws at him. If he opened the armor, wouldn't that be sending him straight to his death? A few words popped up in Xiao Zhao's mind. Do I really have to open the armor? Kong Xiaoming and Kong Ming nodded with difficulty. You have to open the armor to have room to release the power. But at the same time, you have to immediately protect yourself to prevent these magical beasts from tearing you apart. Xiao Xiao was going crazy. The power in his body was driving him crazy. The magical beasts outside were glaring at him covetously. Their fangs were raised, their claws were open, and their blood-red tongues could be seen sticking out of their bloody mouths. Many magical beasts were frantically licking the edge of the armor, trying to use their saliva to melt the hard armor. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming shouted in the bracelet, I can't wait, hurry. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth. Even if the magical beasts poked him with their fangs, he couldn't let their tongues lick him. He quickly recited the formula of the Raging Flame Hand Seal, burning away the magical beasts' tongues first. The flames forced the magical beasts to retreat. At this moment, Xiao Xiao quickly withdrew the armor, and at the same time, he fiercely bit the tip of his tongue, allowing the pain to explode all the power in his body. All of his thoughts were focused on the Baihui acupoint. The little tadpoles in his mind obeyed the command, rise. At this moment, the gate of the Baihui acupoint on top of Xiao Zhao's head opened, and two dragons flew up into the sky, forming golden dots. Countless soldiers poured out from the ground. This time, the soldiers were different from before. Their eyes shone with golden light, and under the sunlight, their armor shone brightly. They let out roars of victory, and with weapons in their hands, they rushed towards the magical beasts with unstoppable momentum. Spirit concealment spell great success. From now on, Xiao Xiao would no longer be troubled by the devil qi. There was no qi on top of his head, and if he wanted to release his devil qi, only white qi would be produced around his body, exactly the same as a cultivator above the Taishi realm in the human world. However, the breakthrough brought a greater crisis to Xiao Xiao. The internal pressure suddenly decreased, and the external pressure suddenly increased. Hundreds of magical beasts around him were like hungry wolves pouncing on their prey. They opened their bloody mouths and bit Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao rolled on the ground and directly rolled into the mouth of a magical beast. Just as the magical beast was about to close its mouth, Xiao Xiao's magical power had smashed its jaw. The magical beast couldn't close its mouth, and the other magical beasts couldn't stop themselves either. They immediately tore the magical beast into pieces. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming in the bracelet were shocked. Xiao Xiao, you have to hold on. Think of your Yinran. When Xiao Xiao heard the two words Yinran, he didn't know where the strength came from. The magical power in his hand flew out desperately, and his body was like an arrow released from a bow. He stepped on the heads of countless magical beasts and flew into the air. He silently chanted the guard seal in his heart. When Xiao Xiao fell from the air, he directly hit the magical beast's head. Finally, the guard seal had worked. Xiao Xiao was saved. Xiao Xiao gasped for breath in the armor. The desperate struggle just now made him a little dizzy, but he finally made it through. Xiao Xiao, good job. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming in the bracelet gave him a thumbs up. Look, your magical power finally worked. Xiao Xiao raised his dizzy head and looked around. Sure enough, everything on the battlefield had changed. The originally one-sided soldiers were still one-sided at this time, but his magical soldiers obviously had the upper hand. At this time, the magical beasts were on the chopping board. The demon soldiers also chopped these ferocious magical beasts into 8 pieces, as if they were cutting vegetables. Broken limbs and remains flew everywhere. Broken limbs constantly smashed against Xiao Xiao's armor, causing pung-pung-pung sounds of collision. Xiao Xiao couldn't believe it, and showed an ecstatic smile. Haha, I finally succeeded. But at this time, he didn't even have the strength to stand up. He just lay on the ground and beat the ground, laughing and crying. As the battle continued to intensify, the endless magical soldiers killed all the magical beasts on the battlefield. But Xiao Xiao found that new magical beasts were constantly being produced. But this time, the magical beasts that were produced made him very happy, because the warriors of the demon race could cut the magical beasts' cores from their skulls. Sure enough, the design of this magical array was so strange. Only when all the magical beasts were killed, the real magical beasts would be produced. Xiao Xiao excitedly counted 1, 2, 333, 888, 999, 1000. The voice of the array soul sounded, congratulating the flying flame meteor Xiao Xiao for collecting 1000 cores and successfully entering the last level. Chapter 180. Yinran looked at the red-rimmed eyes of the people in the dormitory and remained silent. I'm sorry, Yinran. We really don't have a problem with you. We don't believe the words on the internet. It's just that it's obvious that someone is trying to frame you. And these people have no bottom line. Sob, sob, sob. Dan Yao was already sobbing and couldn't continue. Yinran, I think you should fight back online. You can't let them ruin your reputation like this. I think their actions have already violated the law. Let's call the police. Lin Ling was filled with righteous indignation. She couldn't wait to bring the people who bullied Yinran to justice. Sorry, friends. I've caused a lot of trouble for you guys, because of me. I'll move out tomorrow. Yinran didn't say anything else, and got up to pack her things. Bai Shui stepped forward and grabbed Yinran's hand. She lowered her head and said with red eyes, I'm sorry, Yinran. Yinran didn't say anything. She patted her hand and continued to pack. She knew they couldn't bear to see her like this. They were really scared after seeing those terrifying things with their own eyes. After Yinran packed her luggage, she lay down on her bed. At this time there was nothing on the bed. She had thrown away all the bedsheets and pillows. She just lay on the bare bed without saying a word. Danielle also threw away everything on her bed. Lin Ling pulled Danielle and said softly, You can squeeze with me tonight. Danielle stopped crying and got on the bed with Lin Ling. The lights were off, but Lin Ling was still comforting Danielle quietly. Gradually, the two's voices became softer and softer. Meanwhile, Yinran's tears flowed down uncontrollably. The next morning, Yinran dragged her luggage out of the dorm building. Several girls looked at her and pointed behind her back. Their words of disdain drifted into her ears. She was the one who put cockroaches in her dormitory yesterday. It was so disgusting that I couldn't sleep well the whole night. It's good that she's gone. The dorm is safe now. I heard that they called the police. I wonder if they can find out who did it. She must have offended someone. This girl is so beautiful. She's really a femme fatale. Yanran ignored these words and walked out of the school with her suitcase. Xiao Lu had already driven the car and waited for her at the school gate. Seeing her come out, he quickly took the box and got in the car. The car quickly drove to Yanran's house. What's the matter? Yanran, why are you not staying at school all of a sudden? Hua Gang has made a move. We can't stay in the school anymore. We'll implicate others. Did you bring the gun? Yes. Little Six handed Yanran 2 tranquilizer guns. This is not a solution. Sister Yanran, why don't we go out and hide for a while? Yanran's face darkened. She looked at the scenery moving quickly by the roadside and said nothing. Brother Six, there seems to be a car following us. Little Six and Yanran looked back. A black car was following them closely. The driver was wearing sunglasses. When he saw them turn back, he reached out his hand from the window and snapped his fingers. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. Little Six and Yanran looked at each other and saw the vigilance in each other's eyes. Hua Gang. Xiao Xiao came to the last level. This time he learned his lesson. As soon as he entered this chaotic world, he used the guard seal to protect himself and chanted the last level's 3rd secret blessing. Xiao Xiao chanted a string of incantations in his heart. The surrounding environment changed according to Xiao Xiao's will. The stronger the magical power, the faster the change. The surroundings seemed to resonate with a special frequency, vibrating the meridians in his body. Focusing his will on one point, Xiao Xiao unleashed his extraordinary potential and activated the little tadpoles in his mind to inspire supernatural powers and high intelligence. Crown Prince, welcome back. Xiao Xiao heard the voice and opened his eyes. He found that he had returned to his original home in the Devil Realm. At this time, his father was sitting on the seat of honor and looking at him with a smile. Father. A kind of surprise arose spontaneously. His father, who he had not seen for a long time, was still hale and hearty. His face was still purple and red, and he seemed to be in high spirits. His hair was combed very carefully and was not messy at all. However, strands of silver hair were still faintly visible. Xiao Xiao hurriedly knelt down and saluted his father, who was born in awe. The demon lord looked at his spirited and handsome son. Although he was currently in a sorry state like a savage, he still could not block the brilliance around his body. He had been very lovable since he was young, and after he grew up, he became more and more like his devastatingly beautiful mother, becoming the most beautiful child in the entire demon world. Now that he had returned from the experience, he must have learned a lot. It was much earlier than he expected. He looked at his son with a smile and said, good 3 times. Crown Prince, you have returned from the experience. Tell father what skills you have learned. Xiao Xiao was still in a daze. He did not know why he had returned to the Devil Realm, so he reported his experience in the human world to the Devil King in detail. When he mentioned the skills he had learned in the Yin-Yang formation, the Devil King nodded repeatedly. The purpose of sending you to the human world was to find the Yin-Yang formation and the Devil Scripture. As the Devil Realm's Crown Prince, your mission is to bring the Devil Realm to greater heights in the future. How can you always be a hedonistic son? Later, we found out that the Devil Scripture and the Yin-Yang formation had all fallen into the human world. So this is the reason why father sent you to the Devil Realm. It was really a coincidence that you found it. This is really the will of the heavens. Then father, why did I return to the Devil Realm at the last stage? The last stage of the Yin-Yang formation is actually the passage between the human world and the Devil Realm. After you have learned it, you have learned the power of the devil race, and can mobilize thousands of troops. With the support of the 3 secrets, you can naturally return. Xiao Xiao suddenly thought of a very serious question. Then can I still go back? Why do you still want to go back? You have already completed the experience in the human world. It is time for you to return. Xiao Xiao was anxious. Father, my crown princess is still in the human world. If I want to come back, I have to bring her back. When the Devil King heard this, he could not help but look at him with ridicule. You have actually been enlightened. You know how to find a crown princess? But why don't you think about it? You are the crown prince of the devil realm. How will you meet in the future? Xiao Zhao's face turned red. So father, I have to go back. I can't leave her alone there. Even if I can't, I have to bring her back. This is simply nonsense. Can a human and a devil be together? I see that you have learned some skills in the human world, but it is hard to change the nature of a hedonistic son. In the past you only ate, drank, and played. Now you are actually infected with women? The Devil King's voice became louder and louder. His face was already as black as the bottom of a pot. No, father, you have wronged me. In the human world, I have been in trouble many times, and it was she who saved me. I have fallen in love with her. Her skills are outstanding, and she is a cultivator in the human world. Now she is already in the virtuality realm. She is definitely qualified to be the crown princess of our devil realm. Xiao Xiao tried to defend himself. Don't say any more. You just came back today. Go back and rest. If there is anything else, we can talk about it tomorrow. The Devil King angrily flung his sleeves and left. Xiao Xiao was dumbfounded. How could this be? He walked back to his palace in a daze. A group of servants looked at the crown prince who was dressed like a savage and were overjoyed. Congratulations to the crown prince for learning new skills and returning from the experience. Xiao Xiao was not happy at all. He did not even look at the group of servants. He waved his hand and threw himself on the big carved bed. At this moment, Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming finally dared to speak. The Devil King's aura was too strong. It scared them so much that their legs turned to jelly. You have returned to the devil realm? Kong Xiaoming felt that everything was more mysterious. What entered his eyes were the strange-looking servants, the calm and majestic palace, the Devil King who had an astonishing aura, and the well-trained soldiers. Although he was the book spirit of the devil scripture, he had never been here before. Everything was new to him. Xiao Xiao, get up quickly. Take us out for a walk. What walk? Are the two of you stupid? I want to go back. Yanran is still waiting for me. As he spoke, a row of beautiful women walked in like flowing water. Each of them held an item in their hands. The woman who walked in front had an enchanting figure. Her clothes were thin. She had an oval face and watery eyes. As she walked, a faint fragrance wafted. She walked to the side of the bed and gave a standard salute. Her jade lips parted slightly. Your Highness, let you or serve you as you bathe and change your clothes. Kong Xiaoming's eyes widened. Wow, the beauties in the devil realm are not inferior to those in the human world. At this moment, Xiao Xiao was worried. He was not in the mood to deal with anyone who came. He waved his hand. Go, 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 all of you go. Yuer waved her hand behind her, and the others retreated. She sat by the bedside, and a slender jade-like hand moved up Xiao Zhao's exposed calf. Xiao Xiao had not bathed for many days, and her originally tender, white, jade-like calf was covered in mud. However, this jade-like hand did not care at all. Her slender fingers bent and twisted as she carefully moved upwards. Kong Xiaoming's eyeballs were about to fall out. Damn! This beauty is really proactive. Xiao Xiao, your luck with women is here. Xiao Xiao was having a headache. The little tadpoles in his brain were running fast. Suddenly he felt something strange on his calf. Without thinking, he put on the guard armor. Yuer screamed and was bounced out. Only then did Xiao Xiao realize that there was a beauty beside him. He touched his nose. Yuer, go out first. Don't bother me. Yuer was a maid who had served the crown prince since she was young. She was also the most beautiful maid in the palace. Previously, the crown prince had not been enlightened and was not interested in the matters between men and women. Yuer could only wait silently. However, after waiting for a long time, She heard that the crown prince had gone to the human world to gain experience. At that time, Yuer's heart was broken. Today, she learned that the crown prince had returned, and the devil lord had given her a verbal order to serve the crown prince. Yuer was ecstatic. The crown prince was a dragon among men. Just his appearance alone was enough to make her think about him day and night, not to mention the power he had. She had admired him for a long time. She could not be the crown prince's concubine. If she could become the crown prince's pillow, she would be worry-free for the rest of her life. However, she did not expect. Chapter 181. Get rid of him and turn left, Yinran ordered. The driver quickly turned the car around and cut into the line of cars on the left. The driver who was cut in line cursed behind him. However, this made Huagang part ways with them. Drive into the downtown area. He won't dare to do anything in the downtown area, Yinran continued. The car quickly merged into the traffic. After a few turns, Huagang was out of sight. He knows your house. He might block your way home, Little Six said. Yinran pursed her lips. Her face was expressionless, and she didn't answer. After a while, Yinran's phone rang. She opened it and saw Huagang's WeChat message. You can't run away. Drive along the path. We should be safe when we get home. Huagang isn't that bold. He won't dare to be charged with breaking into private property, Yinran ordered. The driver went around the city a few times, until he reached a small alley near Yinran's house. It was a very narrow alley. Only 2 cars could go in both directions. When the driver turned in, there weren't many people in the alley. After 2 more turns, they would reach Yinran's house. Yinran and Little Six looked around. They didn't see Huagang's car. They breathed a sigh of relief. They would be safe when they got home. The car couldn't go fast in the alley. The alley was very narrow, and there were constantly motorcycles and pedestrians crossing the road. When the driver finally reached the end of the alley and was about to turn right, a black car suddenly appeared in front of him. It directly crossed the road and blocked the two-way traffic. The driver had to stop the car and get out to see what was going on. After a long time, he found that there was no one in the car. It was just crossing the road. The driver shouted for a long time, but there was no answer. He was about to return to the car and call 110. Just as he opened the door, the back of his neck suddenly felt like it was pricked by a needle. He felt dizzy and fell into the driver's seat. Little Six and Yinran, who were sitting in the back seat, didn't know what was going on. Just as they were about to poke their heads out, they saw a man with a sinister smile appear beside the open car door. It really was Huagang. Yinran and Little Six had goosebumps all over their bodies. They quickly wanted to pull out the pistols at their waists, but before their hands could touch their waists, 2 invisible ropes had tied them up. Little Six was shocked. Huagang, what are you trying to do? Huagang smiled sinisterly. Little Six, I didn't expect you to be so loyal to Yinran even after the southern aristocratic families have been disbanded. Should I call you stupid? Or should I say you're sincere? Huagang, I'm warning you, don't mess around. This is a lawful society. Little Six shouted nervously. Haha, a legal society. Of course it's a legal society. Without the management of us cultivators, how could this society be so peaceful? Don't worry, Yinran and I love each other. We grew up together, and our relationship is extraordinary. I've always liked her, don't you know? I'll be very good to her. Little Six, I'll take Yinran with me first. I'll send her home tomorrow morning. After Huagang finished speaking, he didn't care about Little Six's murderous gaze at all. He directly moved his fingers and Little Six fainted. Then he went around to the back seat, hugged Yinran who couldn't move, and kissed the corner of her mouth. Yinran, look, I caught you again. Don't run away this time. I have a very big villa, and it's very beautiful. You'll be the first woman to visit it. Do you feel honored? After saying that, he directly got out of the car with Yinran in his arms, and took her to the black car in front of them. Then he reversed the car at 3 o'clock and sped out of the city. Xiao Xiao thought for a long time, and finally came up with a solution. Back then, he didn't want to go to the human world to gain experience. It was the devil monarch who tied him up and took him, and Uncle Wu, to a place called Eagle Beak Cliff. Uncle Wu carried big and small bags like a farmer fleeing from famine. When he arrived at the human world, Xiao Xiao realized that those were their survival magic weapons. Then, under his wailing and howling, two generals from the devil world covered their ears and kicked him in the back. He fell down the bottomless abyss of Eaglebeak Cliff. He heard Uncle Wu call him from behind. "Your Highness, wait for me." Then he jumped down after him. It was really a bottomless abyss. He didn't know how long he had fallen. At first he knew how to cry out, but later he got used to it and just let himself fall. When he finally landed, he and Uncle Wu appeared in the back mountain of Nanchuan City. He said to Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming, "Now we have to find a way to sneak to Eaglebeak Cliff." But how could he hide from others? Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes and saw Yu'er, who was secretly crying in the corner of the room. "Yu'er, come here." Seeing that the crown prince finally remembered her, Yu'er immediately stood up and rushed to him with tears in her eyes. Xiao Xiao moved aside, and she threw herself on the big carved bed. Yu'er looked up at Xiao Xiao with a face full of grievance. The tears in her eyes were already rippling, as if they were about to fall. It was very pitiful. Kong Xiaoming's heart was already in his throat. "Xiao Xiao, you really don't know how to take care of women. A beauty is throwing herself into your arms. Why don't you just accept it?" Xiao Xiao gnashed his teeth in his mind. "If you like it, I'll give it to you. Otherwise, I'll just leave you here." Then, Xiao Xiao bloomed with a charming smile and said to Yu'er, "Yu'er, can you do me a favor?" Yu'er was dazzled by Xiao Xiao's brilliant smile. Her heart softened and her soul left her body. She nodded repeatedly. "Your Highness, please instruct me." Then, she heard Xiao Xiao whisper in her ear, "Tonight, you'll pretend to make love with me in bed. You'll have to make some noise from time to time. Don't get up until tomorrow morning." Yu'er's face flushed red. She said shyly, "Your Highness, I don't understand what you're saying." Teeth grinding. "You were quite proactive just now, but now you're saying you don't understand." Xiao Xiao wasn't good either. He directly made it clear to her. "Tonight I'm going out. You must think of a way to make others think that I'm in the room. If you can't do it, from tomorrow onwards, don't be by my side." When Yu'er heard Xiao Xiao's unfriendly tone, she was so scared that she immediately knelt down. She no longer dared to have any thoughts of teasing him. She said submissively, "Yes, Your Highness. Please come back soon." Kong Xiaoming felt wronged for Yu'er in his heart. "Come back my ass. He's gone. I don't know if he can come back in his next life." After Xiao Xiao finished his instructions, he glared at Yu'er, warning her that she couldn't make any mistakes. Then, he pulled a piece of dark-colored cloth from the room and wrapped it around himself. He opened the window and gently jumped out like a kitten. Xiao Xiao found that after he had learned all the demonic scriptures, all the senses in his body had become abnormally sensitive. In addition, his spirit concealment spell had reached a high level. He could completely hide his breath. Just like that, he quietly passed through the checkpoints and arrived at the Eaglebeak Cliff that he would rather die than go to. Looking at the eagle beak that stretched out from Eaglebeak Cliff, Xiao Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Things were still the same, but people had changed. Was he going to the human world to gain experience? Or was he going to the human world for Yanran? All of this was indeed arranged by fate. He turned back to look at the demonic world. The towering palace was not far away. The surrounding stars were constantly twinkling, just like the night scene in the human world. It was bustling and beautiful. This was the place where he grew up. However, Yanran wasn't here. Next time, he would definitely bring his crown princess back to his hometown in glory. Xiao Xiao spread his arms and jumped down the Eaglebeak Cliff like a great rock spreading its wings. Hua Gang drove Yanran to the suburbs with her. He arranged for Yanran to sit in the front passenger seat, so that he could fiddle with her at any time when they were waiting for a red light. Hua Gang's hands were much rougher than Xiao Xiao's. The calluses on his palms scraped Yanran's delicate skin. In just a short while her cheeks were rubbed red. "This little face is so smooth, delicate and white. I can even squeeze water out of it. Look, there's a red mark with just a pinch." Hua Gang was getting more and more outspoken. His hands were also getting more and more careless. Yanran was like a perfect piece of white jade. In Hua Gang's eyes, she was too pure. It was this flawlessness that made Huagang want to smear her name. He wanted this pure and holy girl to be stained with black blood like him. He wanted her to fall into the mud like an angel falling into the human world. He wanted her to be tainted with the filth of the human world and live with him in the mud. Yinran's eyes were empty. The only thing she remembered was that she still had 2 guns at her waist. These 2 guns were the only thing she could rely on. If she really couldn't escape today, she might die. However, she didn't know if she could still keep her innocence before she died. The bitterness in Yinran's mouth and the pain in her heart had already spread to her entire body. At this moment, she was so helpless. She watched as the car gradually drove into the suburbs. There weren't many pedestrians and cars on the roadside. She was a little desperate. She recalled the 18 years of her life that she had lived. She had never broken her promise to anyone except for Xiao Xiao. It seemed that she was going to break her promise to him. She had said that she would wait for him to come back. It seemed that she couldn't wait anymore. Huagang drove the car and looked at the prey sitting in the front passenger seat. At this moment, she was obedient and quiet. Her expression was calm and emotionless. He was very unhappy. He just didn't like Yinran's expressionless face. He reached out, hooked his arm around her neck, and pulled her towards him. Then, he fiercely bit down on her lips. Blood immediately gushed out of Yinran's lips. Because of the pain, Yinran frowned. It was this that pleased Huagang. I thought you really didn't feel anything. After that, Huagang helped her lick the blood on her lips. Looking at her scarlet lips, Huagang smiled with satisfaction. The car turned a corner and drove into the back of the mountain. Huagang's new villa was at the foot of the mountain. Baby, we're almost there. You'll definitely like my new home. There's a 10-meter wide bed there. It's definitely enough for the 2 of us to roll around on it. Ha 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 ha. Arrogant laughter echoed throughout the entire valley. Huagang opened the window and let the fresh air in. He pulled off the hairband on Yinran's head. The lavender fragrance of her hair spread out with the wind. A woman's gentleness and charm was suddenly transmitted, filling the entire car. At this moment, Huagang was driving. Out of the corner of his eyes, he greedily looked at the fairy-like Yinran beside him. Suddenly, a huge object fell from the sky and slammed into the car's windshield. Huagang couldn't withstand the sudden impact. The steering wheel tilted and crashed into a rock beside him. At the same time, he released his spiritual energy to quickly stabilize the car. However, he didn't expect that the falling object would bounce off the car's hood and quickly reach the roof. Then, like a hammer, it heavily hit the top of the driver's seat. Huagang's spiritual energy collided with the falling car roof and the heavy object. At this moment, the falling object was thrown to the side of the passenger seat. His eyes suddenly widened. His brain wasn't as fast as his hands. A second before the collision, the heavy object quickly picked up Yinran. Then, with a violent impact, spiritual energy and demonic energy instantly collided. Chapter 182. Spiritual Power Defeated. Yinran was also shocked by the sudden turn of events. Before she could react, she had already fallen into a warm embrace. Her face was directly pressed against a furry chest. The fine quality of the beast's fur was warm on her cheeks. In the end, she heard an earth-shattering crash. She was knocked out of the car window. After landing, Yinran realized that Huagang had been directly knocked out of sight. She immediately regained her freedom. She rolled on the ground and quickly escaped from this person's embrace. When she looked up again, she saw a savage in front of her. His shoulder-length hair was wrapped in an animal skin skirt and an animal skin vest, tied in the middle with a vine. His 2 arms and 2 long legs were exposed. The soles of his feet were simply wrapped in a pair of animal skin with a few ropes tied to his calves. His face was glossy and his hair was curled into a ball, standing up on his forehead like a chicken's nest. At this moment, his face was dark and covered in black mud. Except for a pair of bright peach blossom eyes that seemed familiar, the other organs could not be seen clearly. But how could Yinran not recognize him? She had been thinking about this guy for almost 2 years. Even if he turned into ashes, she could still mold him into a person. Yinran opened a pair of moist and misty eyes like a deer's and murmured, "Xiao Xiao, are you back?" The savage's eyes were overflowing with ecstasy. Just as he was about to answer, he suddenly saw his sorry appearance in Yinran's mirror-like eyes. He suddenly covered his face with both hands. Then he turned around and ran down the mountain at lightning speed. Yinran was overjoyed. At this moment she was shocked and shouted from behind, "Xiao Xiao, is that you? Stop right there." But the savage in front heard this shout and ran even faster. In a flash, he disappeared from the foot of the mountain. Yinran no longer cared about being reserved. She spread her legs and chased after Xiao Xiao while shouting, "Xiao Xiao, stop right there." Xiao Xiao ran faster and faster, and soon came to the side of the road. He took a taxi and sped away, while Yinran followed closely behind. She stopped another taxi and said to the driver, "Master, do me a favor and catch up with the car in front." The master was still leisurely. "Little girl, what happened?" "Safety first." "He snatched my bag," Yinran replied while panting. The driver's sense of justice immediately exploded. "All right, come and see me, old Wang. I'll race today. Contribute 12 points to the traffic police, and I'll definitely help you catch that thief." The two taxis started to double jump and began to speed on the suburban road. Yinran's heart was burning with anxiety, and the taxi in front of Savage was even more anxious. "Driver, drive faster, get rid of the car behind." "Young man, why do you want me to run so fast? The car behind us is a man-eating tiger, right?" "No, she wants to take me back to be her husband. Hurry up, if she catches up with us, we'll be finished." The driver looked back at the tall and handsome savage sitting next to him. "You're filming, right? You're a star?" Yes, this fan is too crazy. I have to get rid of her quickly." The two of them chased each other until they reached Xiao Xiao's door. Xiao Xiao opened the door and ran out, shouting loudly, Uncle Wu, help me pay the fare." After saying that, he rushed to the second floor. Yinran followed. When she saw that they had returned to Xiao Xiao's house, she was even more certain that this guy must be Xiao Xiao. "Still want to run? Where to run? What's there to run?" Yinran followed him to the second floor, but found that Xiao Xiao's door was locked. She knocked hard, but no one answered. Uncle Wu quietly appeared behind her. "Miss Yinran, calm down. Go downstairs to the living room to drink some water." Yinran turned her head, grabbed Uncle Wu's arms and shook them back and forth. She said excitedly, Uncle Wu, Xiao Xiao is back. Xiao Xiao is back. But why did he run away when he saw me?" "Well, Miss Yinran, don't worry. Young master must be dissatisfied with his image. When he is ready, he will immediately come out to see you." Uncle Wu's words were like wisdom, waking Yinran up from her ignorance. "You mean he's dissatisfied with his image?" She didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but no matter what, her Xiao Xiao was really back. Xiao Xiao listened for a long time behind the door. When he heard that Yinran was finally waiting for him in the living room, he quickly rushed into the bathroom. Looking at his current appearance, he wished that he could disappear on the spot. Yinran must have seen him like this just now. He must erase this image from his mind. He raised his arm and sniffed under it. Oh my God! Is this still a human? After 2 whole years of fighting to the death in there, what kind of ghastly state had he become? He quickly threw himself into the bathtub and carefully washed himself from top to bottom 3 times. Finally, he was back to being a handsome, elegant and peerless handsome man. He looked at himself in the mirror. His long hair was flowing in the wind, and his facial features had become more prominent. Especially his eyes. They had grown into the standard upturned peach blossom eyes. His eyelashes were so thick that they looked like they had been planted. He blinked at himself in the mirror, and it was as if an electric current had flashed, hooking his soul and making him unable to look away. Xiao Xiao was satisfied and tied his long hair into a braid on top of his head. It was a bit like the original dress of the crown prince of the devil world. He opened the wardrobe and chose a set of his favorite light blue casual clothes. He also put some perfume on his wrists and under his earlobes. Finally, he was satisfied. Waiting in the living room seemed to be deliberately against Yinran. Time was moving very slowly. Yinran kept looking at the clock in the living room, staring at the slowly moving second hand. When she drank the second cup of tea, she couldn't wait any longer. She went upstairs and knocked on Xiao Xiao's door. Xiao Xiao suddenly became nervous. They hadn't seen each other for 2 years. Would Yanran not like him anymore? In front of Yanran, he was never as confident as he was in front of others. He was worried about personal gains and losses like a young boy. He looked at the mirror again. Fortunately, he had kept his appearance for 2 years. At least he still had this. Yanran should like it. He released a little magic energy, making his whole face more charming. He must charm Yanran. He must not let her fall in love with someone else. Clench hands, come on. The knocking on the door sounded again. Yanran, who was standing at the door, clenched her fists. Her heart was beating fast, and her palms were sweaty. Her heart was as restless as a surging lake. The door opened, and a beautiful and dazzling boy appeared in front of her. His eyes were a pure light blue, and his dark and deep eyes were like 2 bright stars. They were extremely frightening and dazzling. At this time, he had one hand on the door frame, and the other on his hip. His 2 long legs were standing, and his face was still wearing that roguish smile. Hi Yanran, long time no see. Yanran looked at the familiar face that she had missed for 2 years. His eyebrows were still so outstanding, and his smile was still so bright. Suddenly her nose turned sour. 2 years of grievances flowed out like a flood. She cried, as if her heart was torn and her lungs were torn. Tears, like pearls falling from a necklace, fell from the corner of her eyes. Her surging emotions and monstrous grievances could not stop her tears and sobs. Xiao Xiao suddenly panicked. He never thought that the cold goddess would have such a moment of emotional outburst. He was suddenly at a loss, and his hands and feet were flustered like a child. He quickly pulled Yanran in, closed the door, and hugged her in his arms. He softly comforted her, and gently stroked her back. I was wrong. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Yanran, don't cry. Hit me, scold me, but please don't cry. It's all my fault. At this time, Xiao Xiao suddenly realized that his mouth was very dumb. Other than I was wrong, he could not say any beautiful words or seductive words. But no amount of gentle words could stop Yanran's tears and sobs. She cried more and more fiercely. Xiao Xiao's chest lapel was already wet. Xiao Xiao was so anxious that he scratched his ears and cheeks. He held Yanran's face and kept wiping her tears. But no matter how hard he wiped, Yanran's tears were like a turned faucet that could not be turned off. Xiao Xiao simply carried Yanran to the sofa and let her sit in his arms. Then, with a slight twist of his hand, a heart-shaped luminous pearl appeared in his hand, as if he was performing a magic trick. Yanran was disturbed by the sudden appearance of the white pearl in front of her eyes. Her crying and sobbing suddenly became softer. When Xiao Xiao saw that it was useful, he immediately took out a few crystal-clear cores. Yanran looked at the shiny things that suddenly appeared, and her attention was finally diverted. She asked in a buzzing voice, "What is this?" Xiao Xiao quickly hugged her in his arms. "This luminous pearl, I thought the shape was good, so I took it from the demon world for you. These shiny things were all crystal cores, which came from the bodies of magical beasts. In the past 2 years, I killed nearly 10,000 magical beasts in the array. These are my results. I thought I must bring them back for you to see. Have you worked so hard in the past 2 years? Yanran rubbed these angular crystal cores with her hand. This was Xiao Zhao's metal as a man. Yes, I've suffered so much in the past 2 years. Look, I've become tanned. Xiao Xiao pouted, pointed at his face, and moved closer to Yanran to see. Yanran reached out to touch Xiao Zhao's smooth and white face. Why is it still so white? That's because it's white now. There was a period of time when I was in the air under the sun. I don't know how long it was. At that time, I felt that I couldn't come to see you. Xiao Xiao rubbed his face against Yanran's palm. A warm feeling flowed between the two of them. Yanran, I missed you to death, Xiao Xiao said with grievance. Then why did you run when you saw me just now? Yanran glared at him. Xiao Xiao looked at her tearful eyes and his heart rippled. He said embarrassedly, My appearance just now was too ugly. I was afraid that I would scare you. I don't think you can get rid of this narcissistic problem of yours. I only dress up for the one who loves me. Xiao Xiao rubbed against Yanran. His coquettish voice was like a cat's paw scratching Yanran's heart. At this time, Yanran was like a pear blossom in the rain. She looked delicate and pitiful. Her beautiful little face occasionally sobbed. Her rose-like lips opened and closed. Her lilac tongue was faintly discernible under her pearly white teeth. In Xiao Zhao's eyes, Yinran's crying was also a different kind of charm. His fingers were originally wiping his eyes, but unknowingly, they slid to his cheeks, lips, and then to his earlobes and the back of his neck. The beautiful face that he had yearned for day and night for 2 years was right in front of him. He boldly touched her lips. His Adam's apple involuntarily moved up and down. Chapter 183. Yinran snuggled into his embrace. Tell me, how did you spend these past 2 years? Xiao Xiao suppressed the desire in his heart and told Yinran every bit of his experience in the formation. He told the story in an orderly and lively manner. When he got excited, he even jumped off the sofa and used his hands and feet to act in front of Yinran. He described the bitter life of these past 2 years as a story of a hero's growth. Yinran finally smiled from his story, but this smile contained tears and bitterness. Xiao Zhao's difficulties, pain, and loneliness in these past 2 years were no less than her own. Xiao Zhao's saliva flew everywhere as he spoke for a long time. In the end, he said that he returned to the demon world, and then secretly returned to the human world. Yinran stared at him like this as tears silently slid down her face. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran, who he had managed to coax with great difficulty. Why was she crying again? He hurriedly knelt down on one knee at her feet. Did I say something wrong? Yinran, don't be unhappy. Although Yinran's face was covered in tears, she kept shaking her head. No, I'm not unhappy. Thank you, Xiao Xiao, for not leaving me here alone. What are you talking about? How could I leave you here alone? Even if I have to return to the demon world in the future, I will bring my crown princess back. Don't let your imagination run wild. I won't leave. Even if you chase me away, I won't leave. I'll be sick of you for the rest of my life. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran silently crying without saying anything. He gathered his courage and gently covered her eyes with his perfect lips. He gently kissed away her tears bit by bit. Yinran closed her eyes and hooked her arms around Xiao Zhao's neck. Xiao Xiao, kiss me. After getting Yinran's consent, Xiao Xiao no longer hesitated. His slightly cold lips, with an extremely hot breath, suddenly pressed against hers. The moment their lips touched, both of them let out a satisfied sigh. The kiss that was 2 years late was like a lightning bolt that ignited the fire on the ground. Unlike Xiao Zhao's previous gentleness, this time, he was very fierce. His wild tongue swept across her upper and lower lips, making Yinran tremble slightly under the wild attack. He bit her lips and sucked on them bit by bit, as if her lips were a top-grade peach. Her soft and smooth tongue was sweet, causing Xiao Xiao to be unable to control himself. From the inside out, Yinran was emitting a seductive fragrance. Once it entered her mouth, Xiao Xiao simply could not bear to pull it out. He wanted to make up for all the longing he had for her in the past 2 years. His movements suddenly became ferocious. Without any explanation, he began to act wantonly in her mouth, pulling her down with him. Xiao Xiao did not give her the slightest chance to breathe. He kept pressing against her mouth and biting her tongue. No one could resist the magic of the crown prince of the devil world. Soon, Yinran's head became dizzy from the suffocation. Her body softened like a sponge, and she tiredly half fell on Xiao Zhao's body. A pair of watery eyes were even more misty. At this time, Yinran was shocked by Xiao Zhao's fierceness. She half closed her eyes and opened them. She did not know that her pair of black eyes, which seemed to have been washed in water, were so dark that it was impossible to see the bottom. Xiao Xiao could not bear to close his eyes. At every moment, he wanted to engrave Yinran in his mind. He kept staring at her, staring at that pair of watery eyes. He watched as she was intoxicated by the deep kiss. Her consciousness was blurred, and she was a little forgetful. His body began to heat up. No, stop, I can't control it anymore. Xiao Xiao hurriedly withdrew from her small mouth. At this time, Yinran's long and narrow eyes were half closed. Her small face was red from lack of oxygen. She did not understand why she could not close her small mouth for a while because of Xiao Zhao's deep kiss. A little juice flowed down the corner of her mouth, flowing down a line of ambiguous silver light. Yinran was in a daze. She half leaned in his arms and did not move. It was as if she was really mesmerized by the kiss. Xiao Xiao gently shook. Yinran, come back to your senses. Yinran suddenly woke up, and her face turned red. I'm going to die. What kind of magic did you use? Xiao Xiao proudly hugged Yinran and swayed back and forth. Do you like it? If you like it, I'll kiss you like it every day. What kind of nonsense have you learned in the past 2 years? Yinran made a gesture to hit him. Xiao Xiao took Yinran's hand, kissed it, and put it on his chest. Yinran, tell me how you spent the past 2 years? After a while Yinran completely recovered. Her racing heart calmed down a little. She adjusted her position in Xiao Xiao's arms, cleared her thoughts, and slowly told him what she had experienced in the past 2 years. She didn't exaggerate like Xiao Xiao did. Instead, she calmly explained what had happened. Yi Xuanfei entered the array, and accidentally broke the array. Then she fed me a spiritual transformation pill. I originally thought that I was alone, but later I found out that the Eastern aristocratic family wanted to use this opportunity to seize power. They colluded with the higher-ups and directly bribed, or transformed, the most important experts of the Southern aristocratic family. In the end, the Southern aristocratic family was completely wiped out. Xiao Zhao's mouth opened wider and wider. He did not notice it earlier, but now he looked up and saw that the little white bun on Yinran's head was really gone. He did not expect that so many things had happened. What about your grandfather? Isn't he at the Saint Emptiness realm? Can't he beat them? Yinran was silent for a moment. We have a traitor here. Huagang used my matter to feed grandfather the spiritual transformation pill when he was emotional. In the end, grandfather also lost his spiritual power and had a stroke. The more Xiao Xiao listened, the more serious his expression became. In the end he was trembling with anger. Huagang, that scum! I was blind before. I'm sorry, Xiao Xiao. Later I found out what he did to you and to us. Only then did I know that he was the most evil demon in the world. Xiao Xiao immediately got up and was about to rush out, but Yinran grabbed him. Where are you going? That scum, I'm going to kill him. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said, Don't go. He is very powerful now, and has broken through to the Saint Emptiness realm. I don't want anything to happen to you again. Yinran, you have to believe me. I am very powerful now. I believe you, but Huagang is now the person in charge of the Eastern aristocratic family in the Southern District. There are countless capable people under his command, so we need to plan carefully. It is easy to get rid of him, but it is not worth it to be hunted endlessly for him. I still have grandfather, my parents, Yinghua, you and Uncle Wu. We all have weaknesses. Xiao Xiao was silent. The undercurrent in his eyes was bottomless. What else happened after that? Xiao Xiao continued to ask. Yinran suddenly hesitated. Should she tell Xiao Xiao what Huagang did to her? Would it irritate him? Nothing important happened after that. Yinran finally chose to avoid the important and dwell on the trivial. Xiao Xiao saw that Yinran did not want to talk about it, so he did not ask. He did not want to add salt to Yinran's heart. In addition to resentment, he felt distressed. His Yinran had been suffering for the past 2 years, and he had not been by her side. How did this strong girl get through it? Xiao Xiao stroked Yinran's back. Her 2 shoulder blades seemed to be more prominent than 2 years ago. Her originally sharp little face, her eyes were more narrow, and her face was colder. The eyes of a budding young girl seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life. Xiao Xiao was in so much pain that his heart was about to break. Young master, Miss Yinran, Little Six is here. Uncle Wu's voice sounded from the door. Who is Little Six? Xiao Xiao did not know Little Six. Little Six used to be my subordinate. He is now Uncle Wu's bodyguard. Yinran quickly got out of Xiao Zhao's arms and adjusted herself. Xiao Zhao's heart trembled. Uncle Wu still needed to hire a bodyguard? It seemed that things were more complicated than he originally thought. When the 2 of them went downstairs, they saw Little Six pacing back and forth anxiously. When he saw that Yinran was safe and sound, he finally felt relieved. Yinran, are you all right? I was so worried. I'm fine. Xiao Xiao saved me. Yinran introduced Xiao Xiao to Little Six. Little Six saw Xiao Xiao and stepped forward to hold his hand. He said gratefully, Thank you, thank you. I thought. Before he could finish, he choked and could not continue. Yinran pulled little Six away. Don't cry. I'm fine. I'll get better in the future. Xiao Xiao also patted little Six's shoulder. You must be little Six. Thank you for taking care of Yinran for me during this time. Little Six looked at Yinran in surprise, and then looked at Xiao Xiao. You're the employer? You're back. You are? Xiao Xiao pulled Yinran into his arms. Little Six, let me formally introduce myself. I'm Yinran's boyfriend, Xiao Xiao. Little Six looked at this shockingly handsome man, and looked at Yinran with doting eyes. He praised exaggeratedly. Yinran, your boyfriend is so handsome. Is he a celebrity? Yinran's eyes were full of pride. She smiled and said, he has the potential to be a celebrity. Xiao Xiao put his arm around little Six's neck. Let's go. Let's talk. Little Six was really not used to such intimate contact with such a handsome person. He was pulled away by Xiao Xiao. Yinran looked at their backs and showed a gratified smile. The original fear and worry disappeared at this moment. The birds that had not returned to their nests for a long time finally found their home. The undercurrents hidden under the water were temporarily selectively forgotten. The few of them gathered together and were happy. Xiao Xiao and Yinran's happiness jumped on their faces. No one mentioned those bad things again. All the good things came from the peace of the heart. It was late at night. The music ended and people dispersed. Little Six went back to his home. Uncle Wu left the space for the two young lovers who had not seen each other for a long time, and left happily while wiping his tears. Yinran found an excuse to go back to her room. Xiao Xiao was not willing to let go. He was ready to talk all night. He did not go back to his room until Yinran promised to find him later. Yinran fiddled in the room for a long time. Just as Xiao Xiao was about to rush in, there was a knock on the door. Under the dim light of the corridor at night, Yinran's hazy long hair draped over her shoulders. Her charming makeup seemed to be lingering with all kinds of amorous feelings. Before she entered the room, she gently took off the knitted coat outside her nightgown. The two shoulder straps set off the boneless white and tender shoulders, shining with an attractive luster under the light. Her skin was smooth and her face was like jade. It seemed to be tempting him to say, Xiao Xiao, I'm here. Looking at Yinran, who was dressed up carefully, Xiao Xiao's blood rushed to his head. Then, two thin and long lines of blood rushed out from his nostrils. Chapter 184. Xiao Xiao's reaction immediately broke the charming atmosphere. Yinran's shawl slid to the ground, but she couldn't care less. She hurriedly pulled Xiao Xiao into the room, raised his head, and wiped his nosebleed. Xiao Xiao raised his head, his eyes still peeking at Yinran's jade-like arm. The tender white skin swayed in front of his eyes like a lotus root, and his nosebleed even more fiercely. Yinran's nightgown was a little thin. Xiao Xiao fiercely closed his eyes and said to Yinran, Yinran, put on the coat. I'm afraid I'll bleed to death. Yinran's face suddenly turned red. When Xiao Xiao opened his eyes again, Yinran had already wrapped herself up tightly. Finally feeling a little better, Xiao Xiao fiercely gulped down a few mouthfuls of cold water. His eyes wandered, and he secretly scolded himself for being too weak in front of Yinran. It was really embarrassing. Yinran had recovered from her panic just now. Her cheeks were red. After all, it was the first time she was so bold. She also summoned a lot of courage. Yinran, like a little bird, leaned into Xiao Xiao's arms and summoned her courage to say, Xiao Xiao, you saved my whole family. I don't have anything to repay you. The money you lent me, I probably won't be able to return it in this lifetime. So today I want to repay you with my body. Xiao Xiao's brain paused for 2 seconds, and then it exploded with a buzzing sound. The word repay with your body was like a poppy that hooked his soul. The image of Yinran in her nightgown kept appearing in his mind. A burst of delicate fragrance lingered around him, making his originally sensitive facial features even more sensitive. He began to speak incoherently, and he didn't know where to put his hands and feet. Yinran, I have no self-control in front of you. Don't give me hope. I will take it seriously. Also, what do you mean by borrowing money? My money is your money. Why are you treating me like an outsider? Yinran raised her head and looked at him firmly. Xiao Xiao, I owe you too much. Xiao Xiao immediately covered his alluring thin lips. Don't be silly. I owe you more. If you want me to repay you with my body, I'll repay you with my body first. Yanran, I will respect you and give you the most beautiful wedding in the world until the day you marry me. But don't make me wait for too long. I'm afraid I'll die before the day comes. Yanran laughed at his words. You're not greedy at all. Then, I'm going back to sleep. Yanran gently kissed Jojo's lips, stood up and was about to leave. Xiao Xiao couldn't bear to let her leave like this. He reached out his hand and said, Yanran. He was acting like a spoiled child. After that, the two of them were entangled with each other, saying endless words of love and yearning. They didn't want to be separated for a second until Xiao Xiao opened his bright eyes and said something shocking in Yanran's ear. Yanran, I heard that the first time is very short. In order not to affect my great image in your mind, it's a waste to keep it. How about I repay you with my body first? I'm going to die. Yanran didn't dare to stay in Xiao Zhao's room any longer. Looking at Xiao Zhao's wolf-like eyes, she ran back to her room. Their night chat finally ended. Yanran looked at her messy hair, blushing face and swollen lips in the mirror. At this time, Xiao Zhao's WeChat message came in. Lock the door quickly. I feel like I'm going to be a wolf. Yanran's hand trembled, and her phone fell on the table. She hurried back to the door and locked it. She covered her face with her hands and squatted on the ground. How could she sleep tonight if the shock was too great? After Yanran left in a hurry, Xiao Xiao calmed down. The sound of rapid breathing filled the whole room. An unprecedented desire filled his heart, and at the same time, there was a kind of happiness spontaneously. This was his Yanran, the Yanran who could bring him infinite happiness. He was glad that he escaped from the devil world. Sure enough, wherever Yanran was, it was a safe harbor. After everything calmed down, Xiao Xiao turned on the computer. He had a lot of homework to catch up on in the 2 years he was away. From national policies to trivial things, the changes in the surrounding environment, and his circle of friends. In the afternoon, Little Six revealed some information, so he also needed to go online to verify it. The little tadpoles in his mind were working quickly. There was everything on the internet, and it told Xiao Xiao everything that happened around him. He also found out what Yanran didn't tell him. From the internet, Xiao Xiao learned that Yanran didn't get a place for independent enrollment. Instead, she directly took the college entrance examination. He also learned that the court once wanted to seize Yanran's house. After entering the school, she immediately became enemies with Huagang. Later, someone even put cockroaches in her dormitory. In the afternoon, Little Six told him that Yanran couldn't stay in the school anymore. It seemed that this was the reason. Xiao Zhao's heart was burning with a raging fire, and the target of this fire was Huagang. He bullied his Yanran to such an extent. Did he really think that he, the prince of the devil world, didn't exist? Huagang, you should pray. Pray that you can die faster. Xiao Xiao couldn't wait for a moment. He only had one thought, and that was to kill this son of a bitch Huagang. Like a silent wild cat, he secretly left the room through the window. Before he left, he climbed next door to take a look at Yanran. He found that his beloved Yanran had fallen asleep. He didn't hesitate anymore. He used his devil energy to the extreme, and quickly rushed to the back of the mountain. Today, he met Yanran in the back of the mountain. From Little Six, he already knew that Huagang wanted to kidnap her. Xiao Xiao wanted to tear Huagang apart. If he didn't arrive in time, he didn't know what kind of torture his Yanran would have suffered. This poisonous snake with a heart like that of a scorpion must have a stronghold in the back of the mountain. Xiao Xiao would find him even if he had to search every house. In the middle of the night, the fog in the back of the mountain had already risen. The scenery on the mountain was pitch black, and the swaying ghost shadows were everywhere. The chilly wind blew, and the moonlight was very dim. The light dots formed by the moonlight were dim and blurry, surrounding several villas at the foot of the mountain. At a glance, it was obvious that this was where the rich lived. Generally speaking, it was used for holidays. At this time, only one of the villas was lit. Xiao Xiao didn't need to look for it again. He was sure that it was this one. Xiao Xiao covered his entire body with the spirit concealment technique, not revealing a trace of his aura. Then he covered his face with a piece of cloth, only revealing his eyes. He looked in through the window. Sure enough, it was Huagang. That guy was fiddling with something in the room. The bedroom was very big, and the decorations were quite luxurious. In the middle, there was a large bed that was nearly 10 meters wide. On the wall beside the bed, there was a huge picture. When Xiao Xiao saw it, he almost fainted. He saw that the picture was of Yanran. At this time, her jade body was lying on the hotel bed. At a glance, it was obvious that she was fixed. A piece of the clothes on her shoulder was torn off, and her face was filled with grief, indignation, and despair. At this time, Huagang was adjusting the iron chain around the bed. He activated a mechanism, and the iron chain would automatically rise. There were also some messy things on the bed. Huagang was still fiddling with them. Xiao Xiao was so angry that his whole body was trembling. Were these things all prepared to be used on Yanran? He didn't want to hide anymore. He directly smashed the window and jumped in. With a burst of mana, he rushed towards Huagang. Huagang felt the danger at the first moment. He quickly adjusted his spiritual energy to protect his body. The two huge forces collided. Xiao Xiao took a step back, and Huagang was knocked back 3 steps. With a cry, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Huagang was stunned. Which emptiness stage expert came to check his situation? Could it be Elder Yi? He was already in the emptiness stage. How could he be so weak? Xiao Xiao didn't give Huagang a chance to breathe at all. He made a seal to protect his whole body. Then, he continuously attacked with his mana, directly beating Huagang beyond recognition. Huagang was attacked suddenly. Before he could react, he was already beaten to the point of doubting his life. Was his emptiness stage just for show? Who was this person? He quickly began to counterattack. The pressure of the emptiness stage rushed towards Xiao Xiao from all directions. Then, an iron fist smashed towards Xiao Xiao's face. Who are you? Tell me your name. Who am I? I'm someone sent by the heavens to skin you. Huagang's strength was also very strong, but Xiao Xiao had the advantage of armor to protect his body. The mana attacks were still greeting Huagang's body. Huagang's iron fists and iron legs were also full of strength. The two were evenly matched. Huagang's iron fist was extremely fast, and the angle of his attack was tricky. This was related to the training he had received since childhood. In addition to his current strength, he was much more resourceful than the magical beasts in the space, who only knew how to use brute force. Originally, Xiao Xiao wasn't his opponent before he went through the yin-yang formation. But now Xiao Xiao had been reborn. Moreover, the armor helped him a lot, making it impossible for Huagang to get close to him. Gradually, the situation was reversed. Xiao Xiao's mana attacks would always hit Huagang's face and body. Huagang found that no matter how hard he hit, he couldn't hit Xiao Xiao. This was a battle with a cheating system. At this time, Xiao Xiao threw out an invisible rope and tied Huagang's upper body. Huagang was caught off guard and was tied up. Then, with the passage of time, Huagang was unable to break free for a while. His fighting strength was obviously reduced. Gradually, he was beaten to the point where he didn't have the strength to fight back. He could only use his spiritual power to protect his heart. His face had been punched countless times, and his eyes were swollen to the point where he couldn't open them. He couldn't even see who it was. Huagang felt that all the bones in his body were broken. He could even hear the sound of his bones breaking. But even so, it couldn't eliminate Xiao Xiao's anger. Xiao Xiao directly used the flying meteor. Large pieces of meteorites flew from the sky, and all of them smashed through the windows and smashed into every corner of Huagang's villa. The poor luxurious villa was instantly devastated. The glass from the windows mercilessly crushed the meticulously decorated interior of the room, causing a vibration that could be heard throughout the villa area. Then Xiao Xiao used his skill to the extreme. He aimed at the bedroom and directly burned Huagang's 10-meter-long bed and the photos on the wall. Xiao Xiao wanted to add 10 times the pain that Yanran had suffered to Huagang. Looking at Huagang, who was covered in blood, Xiao Xiao's eyes didn't have any pity. There was only coldness and hatred. He grabbed Huagang's hair and pulled out a dagger. The reflected light directly stimulated Huagang's eyes. At this moment, he was like an ant under the foot of an elephant. As long as the elephant's foot landed, he would have no hope of surviving. Huagang suddenly began to struggle with all his might. His will to live made his body erupt with potential. He fiercely broke free from one hand and grabbed the dagger. He wanted to snatch it back, but his palm immediately bled. However, his meager strength was immediately dissolved under Xiao Zhao's pressure. Xiao Zhao habitually waved his hand, and like cutting a crystal core, directly cut off a piece of Huagang's scalp. Huagang's scalp immediately became bald, reflecting the light of the lamp. Xiao Zhao sneered. He waved the dagger in his hand and cut off pieces of scalp. Only now did Huagang truly feel fear. Every time the dagger cut, it was as if his head was going to be cut off. The god of death had already brushed past him countless times. Huagang's heart was terrified to the extreme. He didn't know if the next cut would stab into his Baihui acupoint. Blood and sweat flowed down from his head and his swollen eyes. He couldn't see anything now, and could only let out a desperate roar from his throat. Soon the smell of urine wafted over. Xiao Zhao finally stopped his hand movements. He disdainfully stripped off Huagang's clothes and tied him up with a rope, as if he was dragging a dead dog. Then he hung him up on a big tree at the top of the mountain. Whether or not you can survive will depend on your luck. In any case, he didn't go against Yinran's words. Chapter 185. The next morning, the magpies chirped nonstop in front of Xiao Zhao's house, waking up the two people who slept late last night. By the time they finished cleaning up and sat in the dining room to enjoy the breakfast prepared by Uncle Wu, it was almost noon. Xiao Zhao didn't mention a word about torturing Huagang last night. Yinran, eat more. You have to eat more so that you'll be more comfortable to hug. Xiao Zhao spoke without thinking. Yinran glared at him. When she saw Uncle Wu smiling at the side, her face turned a little red. She picked up a prawn for Xiao Zhao. Hurry up and eat. Shut your mouth. Xiao Zhao picked up the prawn and put it in his mouth. He chewed twice. It's delicious. It's said that prawns have the highest protein content. It's just right for me to nourish myself. When Yinran heard this, she choked on the food in her mouth and coughed loudly. Xiao Zhao hurriedly poured her a glass of water. I said, slow down. Did you choke on something? Yinran coughed even louder. Uncle Wu didn't understand what they were talking about. He just smiled. Then, he took out a letter of acceptance from Nanchuan University and pushed it in front of Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao opened it and read, "Congratulations on being accepted by our school's computer application major. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Nanchuan University will be the place where you can let your dreams fly and write a brilliant story." Xiao Zhao touched his nose. Uncle Wu, I still have to go to school. Young master, your experience in the human world isn't over yet. Naturally, you have to complete your studies and make a career for yourself. Xiao Zhao thought about it. He was looking forward to going to school with Yinran. Yinran, let's go in and out together in the future, okay? Yinran gave him a sideways glance. Dream on. I'll go home today. Xiao Zhao immediately pouted. Just as he was about to say something, Yinran picked up a prawn and stuffed it into his mouth. You better study properly for me. With a click, Uncle Wu put away the phone with a smile. How about I try out the functions of the new phone I bought for you? Xiao Zhao took a look and saw that his mouth was bulging with food. His pair of peach blossom eyes were looking at Yinran beside him. However, Yinran was not in the picture. There was only a slender hand holding a pair of chopsticks. At this time, Yinran's other hand was supporting her cheek. She was smiling sweetly, like a ray of light, illuminating the entire room. Uncle Wu, your photography skills have improved. How did you not capture Yinran in the photo? Then he directly posted the photo on his WeChat Moments with the caption, Hu Hansen is back again. In just a few seconds, his WeChat Moments seemed to have been activated. It quickly began to boil and ferment. Gluten that loves to eat dumplings, Brother Qiao is back. Ah, my lonely life has found the meaning of life again. Waves with you, Brother Qiao is finally back. My life has a new motivation. Jiu Qiao, Brother Qiao is finally back. I'm so excited that I'm crying tears of gratitude. God still loves me. He didn't let my Jiu Qiao heart wither. Sand Eagle crossing the river. Brother Chow is finally back. My gloomy life has finally ushered in the light. Walking snow. Brother Chow is finally back. I have another use for my skills. Pandora's box. Brother Chow is back. I want to dominate the screen with 9 palaces grit every day. Big frog at the bottom of the pit. Brother Chow is back. Which beauty's hand is next to him? My heart is broken. I'm only missing a pair of sports shoes. Brother Chow is back. I want to buy a pair of sports shoes quickly and run towards Brother Chow. Little jar that loves to photograph. This is the biggest melon of the century. Brother Chow is back. Look at his doting eyes. I want to become that pair of chopsticks. Loudspeaker small broadcast. Brother Chow is back. Brother Chow is back. Brother Chow is back. I want to shout until the whole world knows. Brother Chow's fan club. Brother Chow is finally back for business. I've been waiting for so long that the flowers have withered. Then, Xiao Zhao's latest picture was crazily reposted by Xiao Zhao's fan club on Weibo. It comforted the lonely hearts of the fans who had waited for nearly 2 years. Soon, Xiao Zhao's phone was exploding with calls. The first sentence was, "You're 2F** King Heartless. It's been almost 2 years since you made a sound. Have you forgotten all your friends? This won't do. I want compensation. Eat, drink, and sauna. Let's go." Xiao Xiao proudly hung up dozens of calls. He said to Yanran, who was sitting next to him, "I've been away for 2 years. My popularity has been quite high. My friends are still thinking of me. Of course. I've signed tens of thousands of autographs for you. Your photos have been hyped up to 1,500 yuan each on the internet. Damn, that works too. Zhang Dayang's brain is not bad. He's not far from his goal of owning a mine." Yanran pursed her lips and smiled. The number of times she smiled in the past 2 days was more than the previous 2 years combined. Looking at the youthful boy beside her, it was as if all the difficulties and hardships had passed. The person who originally needed her protection had grown into a big tree. Now it was the other way around. They drove all the way to the gate of Nanchuan University. Looking at the quaint and solemn campus, Xiao Xiao thought of the embarrassing incident in the library last time. He touched his nose and said, "Yanran, why do you think the university reserved a place for me? It's because you're rich and overbearing. Look, the name of the library has been changed to Qiao's building." Xiao Xiao was a little embarrassed. "Then, am I not quite famous in the university?" "You're not famous yet, but I guess you'll dominate the front page of Tieba in a while." Yanran's guess was right. When Xiao Xiao and Yanran walked into the campus together today, nearly 100% of the people turned to look at them. Their long legs were already eye-catching, and coupled with their rare beauty, they made the youthful campus boil with excitement. Along the way, there were always people secretly taking pictures of them. They followed them from the school gate all the way to the library. What was originally an inconspicuous street photo on the Tieba forum was quickly pushed to the top of the homepage. At this time, all the students who had been admitted to Nanchuan High School all widened their eyes. Damn, isn't that their brother Qiao? When they saw Xiao Xiao preparing to enter the school's administrative office, they saw him take out the bright red and gilded admission letter. No one knew who took a photo of it, but the Tieba began to go crazy. Little Jar loves photography. Brother Qiao, Brother Qiao, Brother Qiao has entered our school. A happy life is about to begin. Loudmouth small broadcast. Looking for someone. Brother Qiao, where are you? Nanchuan's religion has finally appeared. Brother Qiao's fan club. The main character of the fan club is back. Fans, let's get high. Brother Qiao has officially entered Nanchuan University. Expired biscuits. Waiting for Brother Qiao to refresh Nanchuan University's history. Strawberry-flavored apple. Waiting for Brother Qiao to refresh Nanchuan University's history +1. Xiao Xiao looked at the posts he had posted on Nanchuan University's Tieba and felt his spirit energy rising steadily. After walking Yanran to her classroom, he went to see Professor He, whom he had not seen in a long time. "Xiao Xiao, I've been saving your spot all this time. You're finally back." Xiao Xiao knew that Uncle Wu must have lied on his behalf. He rubbed his nose. "Professor He, I'm very sorry. Something came up last minute and made me be away for so long. Don't worry, my studies haven't been affected at all. Good, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. You're a university student now, so you should consider your future. Although you're pretty good at computer science, you can't fall behind in other basic knowledge. Also, I'm working on a new research project, and I'd like you to participate in it. Xiao Xiao was very happy to hear this. That's what I like. Thank you for helping me, Professor He. Good. Then you can go to class now. Professor He smiled as he watched his proud student finally come to class. He agreed with the Tieba post. He would wait for Xiao Xiao to refresh Nanchuan University's history. During this short while, Xiao Xiao's past achievements and awards were all posted on the Tieba. He instantly overshadowed Huigang's glory. Bai Shui, Dan Yao and Lin Ling saw Yanran enter the classroom and were slightly embarrassed. They went up to grab her, and the four of them sat together. However, they noticed that Yanran seemed different today. She was obviously in a good mood, and the smile on her face was like peach blossoms in March, delicate, lustrous, seductive, and beautiful. Yanran, don't blame us. We were just scared. When the investigation results are out in a couple of days, and the bad guys are found, you can come back and live with us, okay? Bai Shui asked with embarrassment. It's fine, I'm fine. I'm fine with staying at home. Yanran smiled faintly. Yanran, what's the good news? I've never seen you in such a good mood before. Seeing how happy Yanran was, Dan Yao breathed a sigh of relief. What happened yesterday really scared her. But she pitied Yanran even more and worried about her the whole night. Yanran smiled but didn't say anything. Lin Ling walked over to Yanran and said, Yanran, let bygones be bygones. We need to look forward. I think things will get better after a while. I'll show you a handsome guy to change your mood. You'll fall in love for sure. After saying that, he handed the phone to Yanran. She saw that the familiar interface of Tieba had been pinned to the top of a 9-grid photo. It was Xiao Xiao. Yanran's mouth twitched. She was right. How long had it been? This guy was so dazzling wherever he went. She was going to be annoyed in the future. Dan Yao also told Yanran, I heard this guy is a treasure. I don't know why he only came to school today. He's the champion of the Information Science Olympiad, enrolled in the Computer Science Department, and the champion of the National Street Dance Competition. He's also the main member of the school's basketball team. He's the school hunk of Nanchuan High School. Sai Yanran, aren't you from Nanchuan High School too? Do you know him? Yanran nodded. Yes. Bai Shui and the others were excited. Then quickly tell us, what is he like? Do you only have good looks? Yanran looked at the excited little eyes of several people and sighed in her heart. It was really awkward to introduce her boyfriend to others. His name is Xiao Xiao. He is kind-hearted and righteous. He is very popular among his classmates. Wow, does he have a girlfriend? Dan Yao was most concerned about this. If he doesn't, can I pursue him? Yanran imitated Xiao Xiao and rubbed her nose. I think he already has one. It'll be difficult for you to pursue him. As they were talking, they saw a commotion outside the classroom. Look, the school hunk is here. He's so handsome. He looks so much better in person. Yanran and the others also raised their heads to look at the door. They saw a man with a figure comparable to a male model with both hands in his trouser pockets and a roguish smile on his stunning face. He walked directly into the classroom and walked in front of them. Everyone's gaze involuntarily followed him. How could there be such a good-looking treasure? He sat down next to Yanran and smiled at the three girls. He waved his hand and said, Hello, my name is Xiao Xiao. I'm Yanran's boyfriend. Chapter 186. It was as if a spell had been cast on the three girls. They stared blankly at Xiao Xiao and then at Yanran. Then, they pulled out a smile from their stiff expressions and said, Hi, hello. Then, Dan Yao said awkwardly, Yanran, what I said before doesn't count. Bai Shui and Lin Ling also came back to their senses and murmured, You really blinded our eyes. Yanran burst into laughter and looked at Xiao Xiao. Don't you need to go to class? I want to come to class with you, Xiao Xiao said matter-of-factly. Yanran glared at him, skipping class on the first day of reporting. You should at least leave a good impression on the teacher. Quickly go to class. Yanran might have felt that her words were a little harsh, so she patted Xiao Xiao's arm again. Good girl. Thus, Bai Shui and the others looked at Xiao Xiao with a bitter expression. Then, under Yinran's glare, he left the classroom unwillingly. The three girls' mouths were stuffed with dog food. They finally believed Yinran's words. Who was Huigang? He wasn't worth the slightest bit of nostalgia. Yinran, this is the boyfriend you always said would come back? Lin Ling finally came back to her senses and widened her eyes. MHM. Bai Shui. Yinran, this is the boyfriend you always said would blind our eyes. MHM. Bai Shui. Yinran, this is the Xiao Xiao you always refused to show us his photo. MHM. Yinran, my admiration for you is as endless as the torrential river. Such a handsome boy was actually taken care of by you. The key point is that he is so outstanding. How do you want us mortals to live? No, you must treat him. Treat him until he goes bankrupt. The three said in unison. Yinran was amused by their antics. Okay, I'll let him treat me. Under everyone's gaze, Xiao Xiao walked out of the classroom. He didn't listen to Yinran and went to class. Instead, he called Lu Hui. Lu Hui was already in his 4th year and had been doing his internship. When he received Xiao Xiao's call, he was on his way back to school. You brat, you're finally back. Uncle Wu said you went abroad. I was wondering which country you went to. I missed you so much. Lu Hui didn't wait for Xiao Xiao to reply. All right. Didn't I look for you as soon as I came back? Where are you? Let's meet up. We're almost at school. Wait for me at the cafe near the entrance. Xiao Xiao walked out of the school and entered the cafe. He ordered 2 cups of coffee and waited for Lu Hui. He needed to figure out what happened at school. Lu Hui rushed over. He saw Xiao Xiao and gave him a big bear hug. You brat, your hair has grown long. You look more and more like a demon. Do you want all the girls in the world to live? My ambition is to make all the boys and girls in the world die. Xiao Xiao joked and pulled Lu Hui to sit down. How have you been these 2 years? Why didn't you contact us? Lu Hui asked with concern. I was trapped in a formation. I couldn't get out. Xiao Xiao told the truth. Lu Hui's eyeballs almost fell out. What formation is this? All kinds of fantastical things can happen to you. Are you okay? Sigh, it's sad to talk about it. I'm mainly looking for you today to understand Yinran's situation. Yinran? What's wrong with Yinran? Did something happen to her? Lu Hui suddenly realized. Don't tell me that in the 2 years you weren't here, she had a boyfriend who dumped you? Xiao Xiao felt that his words were getting more and more unreliable. He gritted his teeth and said, Yinran and I are very good. Shut up. Huh. You caught up with her 2 years ago. Puppy love. Why didn't you tell me? Quick, tell me the details. How far have you gone? Have you gone to bed yet? Are you good in bed? Do you want me to lend you 2 movies to watch? Lu Hui blabbered on. Xiao Xiao stuffed a piece of fruit into his mouth. Clean up your imagination. What nonsense is this? You're almost imagining that you've given birth to a child. Lu Hui's wretched gaze was interrupted by the fruit. He chewed twice and swallowed. Xiao Xiao was afraid that he would say something unreliable. He quickly said, I wanted to ask you if you know that Yinran was bullied at school. Bullied? Let me think. Previously, someone released a video of her and Huigang. At the time, I called you to tell you about it. It was Huigang who said that Yinran was his goddess. I thought that since Yinran is so outstanding, it's normal for someone to chase after her. But that video seemed to be a bit overboard. So the comments about Yinran online weren't very good. Xiao Xiao slammed the table. This damned Huigang. At the time, Yinran didn't reply online. But this kind of thing is very bad for a girl. I think that if she didn't reply, it would be better if things slowly died down. But I think this Huigang is a bit problematic. He's always targeting Yinran, and he's surrounded by a few girls. I heard that they're chasing him very closely. He's also very ambiguous with them. One look, and you can tell that he's a scumbag. The more Xiao Xiao listened, the colder his eyes became. What else happened after that? Nothing else. I haven't been in school for half a year. I just saw some things on Tieba, and heard about it from my classmates. It seemed that Lu Hui didn't know about the cockroach incident in Yinran's dormitory. This incident hadn't spread yet. Who are the girls surrounding Huigang? Help me get a list. Okay, no problem. Leave it to me. Lu Hui quickly got the information of the girls from his classmates. One of them was from the computer science department. The other two were from the economics department of the business school. Yinran's finance department was also part of the business school. And one of the girls was called He Ping. She lived above Yinran's dormitory. Xiao Xiao guessed that there was an 80% chance that it was her. He Ping was a second-year economics student. Her father was the chairman of a company. Because of her profession, she often went to her father's company for an internship to understand the operation of the company and lay a foundation for her to take over in the future. And on that day, she bumped into a person in the company's corridor. He was polite, sunny, and handsome. She caught a glimpse of him, and he left a deep impression on her. Later, during a company meeting, she found out that this person was a manager sent by the company. Her father told her that this person's background was unfathomable. He was quite capable, and ordinary people like them couldn't compare to him. From then on, this grass was planted in her heart. After arriving at school, there was a chance encounter that made her realize that they were fated to be together. Originally, her university life was ordinary. Although it was very pleasant, for He Ping, it was still relatively dull. There was nothing that could touch the depths of her soul. But on this day, a person's photo suddenly appeared on the school's tieba. It was as if her thoughts were instantly stirred up. It was this person who planted the grass in her heart. Like a ray of light, it illuminated the bottom of her heart and made her life find a new meaning. She also got some response from him several times. Even her roommates were attracted by this person. She would always create some chance encounters and be happy for a long time because of a smile. But suddenly one day, there was a rumor that there was a goddess in her light. She went to see an incomparably cold girl. So what if she was beautiful and had a good temperament? She brought a few of her friends to directly cause trouble once. She didn't expect to be replied with arrogant words of packing up and taking away. If that was really the case, then this girl could be considered cold. She didn't expect that the video that was released was not cold at all. It was simply shameless. He Ping was really angry. She asked Hua Gang in a roundabout way once. She didn't expect to receive a heartless reply. Hua Gang finally said to her in pain, "Feelings really can't be controlled. Once you give your heart, it will be so painful that you can't breathe." Then she saw her as an eyesore. Finally one day she made a move. She found someone to get a bag of cockroaches. Taking advantage of the time when the dormitory door was not closed, she threw it just like that. That night, she mixed in with the crowd and watched the joke. A few of her roommates cried, making her very unhappy. Finally, she drove the girl out of the dormitory. He Ping felt that she had won. But she didn't expect that someone would come to her door the next day. "You are He Ping, right?" An extremely outstanding-looking man blocked He Ping's path. She had seen him on the tieba before. He Ping was stunned for a moment. Then, she saw the cold gaze in the other party's eyes, and immediately put up her guard. "What do you want? You were the one who released the cockroaches yesterday, right?" Xiao Xiao went straight to the point. He Ping didn't expect that the things she did would be exposed in such a short time. Her mind turned quickly, and she immediately denied. "I don't understand what you are saying. I only give you one choice. Immediately apologize online, and admit that you did something bad." Xiao Zhao's voice was cold to the bone. "I didn't do it. Why should I apologize?" He Ping still denied. But at this time, her heart was trembling. Could it be that she didn't do it well yesterday and was seen by others? "I'm giving you until tomorrow night to apologize. If I don't see your apology video online, you won't be able to bear the consequences." After Xiao Xiao said this, he didn't look at He Ping's reaction and immediately left. Just now, He Ping's eyelashes were trembling and her palms were involuntarily clenched. It was already revealed that she was the real culprit. Xiao Xiao originally only had 80% confidence, but now it was 100%. He Ping looked at the handsome back that was disappearing into the distance, and her heart was a little panicked. At this time, the only thing she could think of was not his father, but Hua Gang. She wanted to talk to Hua Gang about what she should do. She immediately found an empty space and called Hua Gang. No one answered the phone. She kept calling him again and again, It was not until nighttime that the call finally went through. Yiping told Huagang everything she did. Huagang, for you. I put some cockroaches on Yinran's bed. In the end, someone found out. What do you think I should do now? Unexpectedly, Huagang was silent for a moment and said weakly, This is your own business. It has nothing to do with me. Then he hung up the phone. Chapter 187. Yiping sat on the ground. That boy didn't seem like he was joking. She thought that she was helping Huagang, but she didn't expect that it was all her own wishful thinking. She carried her bag and walked to the classroom uneasily. She sat down and was about to take out a book when something furry suddenly jumped out of her bag. Ah! She saw it clearly. It was a rat. It had 2 green eyes, a fat body, a sharp head and 2 sharp teeth. Yiping was so scared that she threw her bag away. The rat disappeared immediately. The surrounding students were frightened by Yiping's appearance. What happened? Yiping. Yiping trembled and said, There was a mouse just now. This sentence made the surrounding girls jump in fright, but no one around saw it. Yiping was no longer in the mood to study. She was scared. She was just a little girl. She wanted to throw her bag away. Her mind was restless. She lay on the bed in the dormitory and thought about it for the whole night. The next day, she posted a video online, saying that she was bewitched by Huagang and put the cockroach on Yinran's bed. She now realized that what she did was wrong and sincerely apologized to Yinran. At the same time, someone released a profile of Yinran. She had excellent grades, won the International Olympiad gold medal, and was a national outstanding student. The internet was in an uproar. Milk tea is delicious. What a drama of 2 girls fighting over a guy. Library seat holder. This has nothing to do with the female lead. A brick fell out of nowhere. The school hunk is my brother. Of course, an outstanding girl has people who like her. Bunny ate watching spiders from above. A girl's jealousy is scary. Lemon's guard. The female lead is so pitiful. I feel sorry for her. She suffered for no reason. The school also dealt with her. Now Yiping was like a rat crossing the street. Her roommates and classmates were pointing at her behind her back. In the end, she had to leave the school and live at home. Yinran saw the video and glanced sideways at Xiao Xiao, who was helping her pack. You did this. Xiao Xiao stole a glance at Yinran and said carefully, I'm just angry. No one can bully our Yinran. You didn't hurt her, right? No, I was just joking with him. I didn't expect her to apologize so easily. Xiao Xiao stuck out his tongue. Yinran, you won't blame me, right? You must remember that we cultivators must protect humans. You must never do anything that goes against reason and nature. Although I have no spiritual power now, my faith is still there. If I find out that you have done something wrong, then you will lose me forever. Yinran said seriously. Xiao Xiao was shocked. Yinran, don't say that. I wouldn't dare even if you beat me to death. If I lose you, then I don't want to live. Anyway, don't hide anything from me. Got it, no problem. Xiao Xiao gave a standard military salute. Yinran sighed in her heart. She knew that Xiao Xiao was good to her. But the faith she received since she was young had always warned her that humans were weak, and she had to protect the weak. Although this girl harmed her, with Yinran's intelligence, she already knew who it was. However, she never retaliated. Sai, the one who instigated this girl, was Huagang. The Huagang who had turned into a demon had not appeared recently. Did Xiao Xiao do something secretly but did not let her know? She was still worried that this demon hiding in the dark would appear again. The smart Yinran glanced at Xiao Xiao, who was constantly fooling around with her. Her eyes were clouded with worry. She did not know if the happiness she had now would last long. Or was it just a flash in the pan? Huagang finally breathed a sigh of relief and fell from the tree branch. He looked at his burned house at the foot of the mountain. It was already in ruins. At this time, his whole body was injured, but the most important thing was that he was still naked. He used his spiritual power to repair his meridians. After an entire day, he felt that he could stand up and walk. Fortunately, there were not many people in the mountain. Otherwise, he would probably be in the headlines. He still did not know who was so powerful. The first thing he did when he got home was to call Elder Yi. Elder Yi, I met an extremely powerful person. His realm is above the virtual realm. I couldn't beat him at all. I was almost killed by him. Elder Yi was quite serious when he heard this. His realm is above yours. Is there anything special about him? His whole body was wrapped up. I didn't see anything special at all. Then did you offend anyone recently? Huagang thought about it. He was the only one who could abuse people. No one could abuse him. Elder Yi, no. That's strange. I've never heard of anyone above the virtual realm in our cultivation circle. Could it be that there are some powerful people in the Western and Northern families? I'll investigate this matter. You take care of yourself and restrain yourself. If the mission in the South is not too urgent, stop it first. Recently, the top has been urging you. He opened a casino outside the country and needs a lot of liquidity. You have to try your best to find a way in the South. Huagang joined the Eastern families. Only then did he know that the Eastern families and the Southern families had completely different beliefs. The Southern family's management was like thin soup noodles. All the cultivators didn't get much benefit other than a fixed salary. However, the Eastern families were different. They had long colluded with the top. Although they were protecting humans on the surface, most of the wealth they plundered from the bad guys secretly went into the pockets of the top. Huagang called it robbing the rich to give to the poor. Originally, he didn't have access to these core secrets. However, he didn't know why. Ever since he became a trader, his cultivation progressed rapidly. He even broke through the virtual realm. Strength determined everything. Elder Yi didn't think highly of him, but now he had to rope him in and let him become a member of the core secrets. Naturally, he would share the benefits with him. There were too few masters in the virtual realm. It was also at this time that Huagang realized that cultivators had long become a tool for the top to amass wealth. He originally thought that he was almost the invincible of the world. He didn't expect to be beaten so badly last night. It seemed that he really had to restrain himself. He was determined to get Yanran. One day, he would catch her. He wasn't in a hurry now. He had to complete the task given by Elder Yi first. He returned to the ruins of the villa and found 2 pieces of clothing to wrap himself up. He looked at his sorry figure in the broken mirror. His hair was shaved, and it was messy. His scalp was covered with spots of blood. His entire body was covered with bruises at a glance. He couldn't stay in this house anymore. He simply took a taxi to the presidential suite and found a doctor to deal with the external injuries. He made a few calls to his subordinates and asked them to show him the recent task list in the southern region. He also asked them to get a list of the companies with the most deposits in the southern region. Soon, with the arrival of the doctor, 2 of his subordinates also came in. They were shocked when they saw Huagang's appearance. Huagang just remembered that his current appearance was too horrible to look at. Find a hairdresser to trim my hair. After everything was done, Huagang looked through the list of information that his subordinates gave him. The recent tasks weren't particularly complicated. There were a few wanted criminals who had done bad things. The police couldn't catch them and needed their help. This was what Yanran and the others used to do. Huagang was already familiar with it. But now he was facing the second problem, circulating funds. The bad guys didn't have money. It wasn't easy to get money through legitimate channels. He was only a sophomore. He had to at least wait until he graduated. He had to go back to the Eastern aristocratic family and see what to do. He also needed to rest for a while. This time he was badly hurt. He had to lie low for a while. After sleeping for a few days, he opened the school's tiaba. His eyes suddenly widened. A person he didn't expect to appear on the school's tiaba's front page. He immediately became the most popular person in the school. He immediately thought that it might be Qiao Xiao that night. But he immediately rejected the idea. Although Qiao Xiao's level wasn't bad, he had fought with him before. At most he was on par with him. It shouldn't be him. But why did this guy come back? Huagang narrowed his eyes. Before Yanran protected you. Now that no one is protecting you, are you ready to run on the road of death? Xiao Xiao, just wait for me to come back. Huagang returned to the Eastern aristocratic family. After Yi Lao's treatment, he finally recovered. Yi Lao was also surprised by the sudden appearance of this master. His level was so high that Yi Lao wondered if he could surpass him. He checked around and didn't find anything unusual. Pay more attention. Since this person appeared once, he will definitely appear a second time. There must be a reason why he came to find you. If it's not for revenge, then it's for money. If it's revenge, it must be the remnants of the southern aristocratic family. Let me know when you find them. I'll deal with them directly. If it's money, if such a master can become one of us, it'll be like adding wings to a tiger. Yi Lao analyzed. Hua Gang got Yi Lao's support. He had confidence in his heart. He could beat a higher void. But could he beat a Saint Void? This time, he returned to the southern aristocratic family with a lot of people. On the one hand, he was looking for traces of masters. On the other hand, he was thinking of ways to continue to raise money. What annoyed him the most was that he had status and money now. Why couldn't he do whatever he wanted? He couldn't even deal with Yen Ran. She had escaped from his hands several times, which made the devil in his body unable to accept. Now it had become a kind of obsession. As he continued to grow stronger, the devil in his body also grew bigger and bigger. The black blood in his body had already soaked into the blood of his whole body. It was like a torrent running through his body endlessly. It was also this power that made his cultivation constantly rise. After being abused by a stranger this time, Hua Gang benefited from the disaster. He felt that he was about to break through again. Now he just needed an opportunity. Chapter 188. A plane took off from Huanghai City International Airport and flew directly to Nanchuan. A man in a black suit and hat was resting against the seat in the first-class cabin. The flight attendants walked past him many times, but he was not affected. He kept recalling a book he had read in the Eastern aristocratic family's library the day before. It was a book that summoned him automatically. He couldn't help but walk to the bookshelf. The closer he got to the book, the faster the blood in his body flowed. It was exhilarating and made his blood boil. The book wrote exactly what he needed, and the opportunity was right there. The black blood in his blood madly absorbed the nutrients in the book. After the last drop of black blood occupied Hua Gang's pupils, the light in his pupils returned to normal. Xiao Xiao was very dissatisfied during this period of time, because Yanran had directly moved back home. The only time they met was on the university campus, and had lunch together. Yanran's reason was that she had to practice the hibiscus chart, and wanted Xiao Xiao to do his own things. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, believed the most important thing was to be with Yanran. Yanran lectured him. Men need to have a career. You can't spend all your time revolving around women. Why would he need a career? Wasn't it just to make money? He already had so much money he couldn't spend it all. Why would he need a career? Yanran continued to brainwash him. A person needs to live for value. They need to contribute to society and promote the development of society. No matter where you're from, you have to shoulder your responsibilities as long as you're alive. Finally, Yanran threatened him. If you don't make progress, I'll have Uncle Wu donate all your money. Xiao Xiao had no choice but to enter Professor He's lab obediently. However, he discovered a new source of enjoyment as soon as he entered. Professor He had provided him with a whole new world. The various hardware and software designs were like a game to him. They were all research directions that the country urgently needed, so he had a lot of fun. The original graduate students in the laboratory were a little conflicted about the handsome second-year student. Although they had heard that he was once the champion of the Information Science Olympiad, he was still a second-year student. How could he compare to them, who had worked hard for many years to learn? If they did well in this laboratory project, they would have the opportunity to directly enter the country's more awesome laboratory. They would fight very hard for every spot. Xiao Xiao was not in the mood to argue with them. He was a person who advocated freedom and hated the rules and regulations of the world the most. Otherwise, why would he be a dandy in the past? What he was really interested in were Professor He's research topics. These were all fields he had never come across before, so he was just playing around. Gradually, everyone seemed to have figured out Xiao Xiao's methods and had no conflict of interest with them. Therefore, after Xiao Xiao treated them to a meal, This second-year freshman blended in seamlessly with the group. Xiao Xiao was most interested in creating something new, and eagerly bringing it to Yinran to make her happy for a while. Lu Hui was already used to Xiao Xiao acting like a puppy. I thought you came to the human world to gain experience or something. I didn't expect you to be here for Yinran. Xiao Xiao gave Lu Hui a thumbs up. You're the one who understands me the best in this world. You know the truth. Uncle Wu was very satisfied with Xiao Xiao's current state. He was like watching a child grow up. As long as there was improvement, willingness to improve, and not learn bad things as a parent, he was already in tears. As for humans earning money to support their families, they already had a mine anyway. What was there to worry about? All that mattered was that Xiao Xiao was happy. As long as Yinran was there to supervise him, this hedonistic crown prince would not go astray. Nanchuan University had a few sacred places for couples to check in. To be able to get such a reputation, the environment must be beautiful and secluded. After Xiao Xiao adapted to the school, he was really interested in hearing about it from his classmates. Yinran also refused to go home with him. So where could they go to have some alone time? Xiao Xiao pondered for a long time. In the end, he still had to think of a way to take Yinran to explore this sacred place for couples. At noon, after the two of them finished eating, Xiao Xiao patted his stomach and said that he had eaten too much and wanted to go for a walk. Just like that, he coaxed Yinran away from her roommates. These roommates were now used to it. They had seen Xiao Xiao so many times that they were immune to his beauty. In private, they said to Yinran, "Your boyfriend is good at everything, but he's too clingy." Yinran deeply agreed. However, she definitely couldn't get rid of Xiao Xiao, this dogskin plaster. Otherwise, when he threw a tantrum, it would be a little difficult for her to bear. Previously, there was a weekend when they didn't see each other for 2 days. Yinran's excuse was that she wanted to find time to cultivate and let Xiao Xiao play by himself. In the end, this little puppy relied on his high ability to steal her out of the house the next night. He said that he wanted to take her to admire the moon and comfort her from not seeing each other for 2 days. In the end, he even composed a hero's hymn under the moon. The two of them walked all the way through the campus. Nanchuan's campus was very big. The campus was in the suburbs, and there was a large area connected to a body of water. At the side of the water, there was a circle of reeds. At this time, it was almost summer vacation. The reeds grew very tall. When the breeze blew, they danced gracefully on the shore. Xiao Xiao brought Yinran closer and closer. Seeing that they were about to enter the reeds, Yinran saw that there was no road ahead. She pulled Xiao Xiao and said, "Let's go. We're going back." Xiao Xiao had finally tricked Yinran into coming here. How could he give up? The reeds are very beautiful. I heard that there's a double lotus. I'll take you to see it. Yinran believed him. The two of them entered the reeds and were immediately covered by the tall reeds above their heads. After walking for a long time, Yinran still didn't see the double lotus. Instead, she stumbled and almost slipped. Xiao Xiao hurriedly pulled Yinran and found an empty space to sit down. He said that he couldn't let his goddess be tired. Now, Yinran finally saw that Xiao Xiao was up to something again. "Tell me, why did you bring me here?" Xiao Xiao hurriedly revealed a big smile. "Yinran, look at how beautiful the scenery is. I just brought you here to relax. You're too tired studying and cultivating every day. I don't even have time to accompany you." After saying that, he pulled Yinran into his arms and massaged her shoulders. Yinran straightened up. It was broad daylight. Who would massage here? She stood up and wanted to leave. Xiao Xiao hurriedly pulled her and pouted. "Yinran, why don't you sit down and talk to me? We don't usually have a chance to talk. You're usually so busy. You even have to go home at night. I don't have enough time to accompany you." Yinran rolled her eyes at Xiao Xiao. "We can see each other 2 or 3 times a day. How is that not enough time?" Xiao Xiao immediately said righteously, "These 2 or 3 times, there were people beside us. What does it matter if there were people? Didn't you see me?" Yinran couldn't follow Xiao Xiao's train of thought at all. "Ran, tell me, which couple doesn't want to be together 24 hours a day? 24 hours? How boring is that? Also, both of them have things to do. How can they have so much time to be together?" Yinran really couldn't figure it out. Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes and simply didn't say anything. He directly waved to Yinran. Come and see. He brought Yinran to a nearby patch of reeds. Pushing aside the reeds, he saw a couple kissing so intensely that half of the reeds beside them had been crushed by their bodies. Yinran's face suddenly turned red. Xiao Xiao took her to the other side. In the reeds here, under the high cover, a couple had already rolled on the ground. Yinran quickly turned back and pulled Xiao Xiao away. It's broad daylight. Why are they? What are they doing? Xiao Xiao hugged Yinran from behind. His head was on her shoulder, and his sexy thin lips had already kissed Yinran's earlobe. Yinran's face turned red. She turned around and pulled Xiao Xiao's ear. What do you think about all day? Other than this, is there nothing else? Xiao Xiao had no choice but to let go of Yinran and quickly save his ear. Yinran, this is Nanchuan University's sacred place for couples. In any case, we're considered a couple. If we haven't checked in here before, then wouldn't we have wasted our time in university? After saying that, Xiao Xiao felt wronged. Yinran sighed. This guy put all his desire for her on the surface and never hid it. If this continued, sooner or later something would happen. Xiao Xiao saw that Yinran had loosened a little. He put his arm around her waist and smiled seductively. Yinran, let's check in here today too. After about an hour, Xiao Xiao felt refreshed. Yinran walked out of the reeds with a flushed face. Yinran pinched Xiao Xiao's waist from time to time. Every time this happened, Yinran felt particularly useless. Xiao Xiao's soul had flown away. This guy was getting more and more insatiable. Yinran touched her neck and asked Xiao Xiao worriedly, is there a mark or not? Xiao Xiao smiled slyly. The mark just now was carved into a flower. I removed it for you with demonic energy. Yinran twisted Xiao Xiao's waist with her thumb and index finger. Next time you dare to leave a mark, I'll twist your skin off. Xiao Xiao didn't feel the pain at all. He smiled mischievously and whispered in Yinran's ear. Twist it wherever you want. After the two of them parted ways, Yinran and Xiao Xiao went back to their respective classrooms. Yinran had already told him that after they met at noon, they wouldn't see each other in the evening. Little Six would come to pick her up directly. Xiao Xiao had to give up. He also had a class in the afternoon, and had to go to the laboratory to finish the unfinished toy. After finishing all the tasks, Xiao Xiao went home early. Zhang Daong gave him a lot of signing tasks. He had delayed it for a long time, and could take time to sign them tonight. At about 9 o'clock, it suddenly rained heavily. Xiao Xiao looked at the gloomy sky and called Yinran. He told her not to practice too late, and that he would pick her up the next morning. Xiao Xiao was lovey-dovey for a while, and blew a few kisses to Yinran through the mobile phone signal. Finally, he was willing to hang up the phone. What Xiao Xiao and Yinran didn't expect was that Huigang, who had disappeared for a while, just landed in the evening. He got off the plane. He was dressed in black clothes and black pants. The hood of his sweater covered his head, and his whole body was like a man in a black suit. The lights in the airport were very bright, but Huigang was like an Azura in the dark night. He had a strong aura. When he glanced around, no one dared to come close within 3 meters. He pulled his suitcase to the entrance of the airport. Looking at the heavy rain and the dark clouds in the sky, the tyrannical factor in his blood seemed to be restless because the moon was blocked out. He felt a burst of irritation in his heart. His neck jerked back, and the hood fell from the top of his head, revealing a handsome bald square face. However, his eyes were staring straight ahead, as if he was extracting poison. Chapter 189. The next morning, Xiao Xiao had just picked up Yinran, and was about to board the car when Yinran, who was originally full of smiles, suddenly stopped in her tracks. She looked behind Xiao Xiao, and her expression quickly turned cold. Her eyes were filled with deep vigilance. Xiao Xiao turned around, and saw a person walking towards them. He was wearing black clothes and black pants, and his eyes were cold as if he had just walked out of hell. He looked out of place under the dazzling sunlight. At this moment, he stopped 20 meters away from the two of them. Huigang. Xiao Xiao was stunned when he saw him. He didn't expect Huigang to still be alive. It was true that good people didn't live long, but bad people lived for thousands of years. It seemed that he wasn't ruthless enough. Huagang's face was gloomy. Yinran noticed that his entire aura had changed. His eyes were cold, like a viper staring at its prey. Yinran's body was cold and stiff. Xiao Xiao clearly felt it. He gently patted her hand, and then walked forward. I haven't looked for you yet, but you took the initiative to send yourself to me. You're quite lucky to be able to come out alive after entering the yin-yang formation. How is it? Didn't you lose a layer of skin? Huagang sneered. His cold words were like a viper's tongue. Sorry to disappoint you. I still want to take care of you slowly. Xiao Xiao's aura was strong. It didn't lose out to Huagang at all. Huagang snorted. He didn't even greet him. He directly pressed down on Xiao Xiao, and Yinran with a strong pressure. Xiao Xiao immediately protected Yinran behind him. He silently chanted an incantation, and a guard seal immediately appeared on his body, enveloping him and Yinran. The pressure seemed to have hit an iron wall. It directly scattered in all directions. The surrounding trees were swept away by a strong wind. Some fragile branches were immediately swept to the ground, and leaves rustled down. Xiao Xiao sneered and said, You, the scum who claims to be the guardian of the human world, actually dare to be presumptuous here. I really underestimated you. I'm different from you. I'll go to the back of the mountain at night. Come if you have the guts. You have to remember that you met me because you were not reincarnated well. God sent me to wash your body and peel off your dirty skin. Huagang looked at the arrogant Xiao Xiao, and his fighting spirit was aroused. You devil, tonight is the day you die. You had Yinran to protect you. Let's see who will you rely on today. After he finished speaking, he smiled and said, I forgot to tell you, Yinran's in bed. You. Xiao Xiao was so angry that his eyes turned red. He was about to punch Huagang when Yinran pulled him back. Someone's coming. Huagang also caught a glimpse of the people in the distance. He glanced at Yinran again. His thumb and index finger formed the shape of a gun, and he fired a shot at Yinran. Then he blew the muzzle and said, You can't run away. After I take care of Xiao Xiao, I'll come for you. After that, he shook his phone at Yinran, turned around and laughed wildly. Xiao Xiao was so angry that he wanted to chase after him, but Yinran pulled him back. Don't listen to his nonsense. Although he caught me twice, I escaped. After Yinran said that hurriedly, she felt a little guilty. The specific scene at that time was really unbearable. She didn't know what Xiao Xiao would think, but she guessed that most men wouldn't be able to take it. When the video of her and Huagang was released, Xiao Xiao's reaction was that he believed her completely. But now, her phone vibrated, and a WeChat message came in. Yinran opened it. In the dim presidential suite, there was a picture of her trapped on the bed. The clothes on her shoulders were torn, and Yinran's hands trembled. Xiao Xiao was still saying angrily, Yinran, don't be afraid of him. Tonight, I'll take care of him completely, and let him live for a few more hours. Xiao Xiao noticed that Yinran's expression wasn't right. He anxiously hugged her. What's wrong, Yinran? Were you hurt just now? Then Xiao Xiao glanced at the picture on Yinran's phone. Yinran was a little flustered. She wanted to put it away immediately, but Xiao Xiao snatched it away. He looked at it carefully. It was the same picture he saw in Huagang's villa. He gnashed his teeth and said, Scum. Yinran closed her eyes in despair and muttered, It's not like that. Listen to me. Xiao Xiao hugged Yinran and patted her back gently. His voice was low and sad. Yinran, it's all my fault. It's all my fault that I wasn't here. I let you suffer so much. It won't happen again. You don't care? I care. Of course I care. I care about how helpless you were. I care about how you escaped from the hands of this devil. I care about how much you were wronged at that time. Xiao Xiao looked into Yinran's eyes and said seriously. Then what if I'm not clean anymore? Yinran's eyelashes trembled as she asked the answer she wanted to know the most. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran's moist and misty eyes. I told you before. In my heart, you are the snow lotus of the devil world. In my heart, you will always be the most holy existence. If what you said is true, then I will cripple Huagang. You can't stop me anymore. Yinran instantly burst into tears. She suddenly understood why the heavens allowed Xiao Xiao to enjoy this peerless appearance alone. It turned out that he was the most brilliant light in the world. His heart would always contain this purity. Although he was born in the devil world, the warm mountains and soft waters were not as pure as the pure land in his heart. He stepped on the mountains and rivers, traveled thousands of miles, and let all the paintings and ink in the world become the foundation for him to walk towards her. She took the initiative to snuggle into his arms and said faintly, "Xiao Xiao, how can you be so good? Now you finally know how good I am. However, this photo is too lousy. When we get married in the future, I will set up a studio at home. Next time, I will take the photo for you." Then Xiao Xiao whispered something in Yinran's ear. Yinran instantly smiled through her tears. "You're looking for a beating again." Yinran's nervousness did not disappear because of Xiao Xiao's nonsense. She knew too well the pressure of the higher void stage. She could not help but worry about Xiao Xiao. She asked Xiaolu to bring 4 tranquilizer guns. She held 2 for herself, and gave the other 2 to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao felt that Yinran was thinking too much. He had already tested his ability last time. He could completely beat Huigang. However, Yinran said that Huigang's state was not right. She could no longer see his realm clearly. It was better to be careful. Yinran told Xiao Xiao how to destroy a cultivator's spiritual power. It could be done by directly destroying the sea of qi in the cultivator's dantian. Xiao Xiao regretted it as soon as he heard it. If he had known earlier, he would have destroyed him last time. However, he missed the opportunity. He still had a chance today. Yinran knew that tonight's duel would determine her and Xiao Xiao's fate. If Xiao Xiao won, she would no longer have to worry about the threat of Huigang. If Xiao Xiao lost, she and Xiao Xiao would be doomed eternally. Xiao Xiao did not want Yinran to go with him at night. Yinran had no spiritual power now. What if he could not take care of her? However, Yinran said, "Xiao Xiao, I have never been a person who can stand behind others. Although you are protecting me now, I don't want to be a little woman. I will not be a burden to you. Let me go. I am also worried about you." Her words made Xiao Xiao dizzy. The 2 of them were fully prepared. When night fell, they set off for the back of the mountain. At night on the back mountain, the heat of the day had been blown away in the forest. Xiao Xiao and Huigang stood face to face without greeting each other. The fighting spirit in their eyes had already ignited their rationality. Although they were fighting for Yinran, now it had evolved into a battle of life and death. Huigang had long been demonized. The dogma of cultivators no longer existed in his mind. On the other hand, for Yinran, Xiao Xiao vowed to destroy Huigang's spiritual power today. The 2 of them directly collided. Very quickly, they were locked in a fierce battle. Xiao Xiao still used the safest armor to protect himself. He punched out with his most proficient Fa-Li. On the other hand, Huigang's body surged with qi. Waves of pressure rushed towards Xiao Xiao. The 2 of them were unable to get close to each other. After fighting for a while, Xiao Xiao felt that the pressure on him had increased sharply. Huigang seemed to have changed into a different person. His eyes were bottomless. It was completely impossible for Xiao Xiao to beat him up again. They were evenly matched. Huigang used his hand as a knife. The sound of the golden blade splitting the wind was vigorous and powerful. Xiao Xiao was barehanded. He dodged and moved around without showing the slightest sign of weakness. Under the guard's armor, he handled it with ease. Huigang didn't have any effect after a long battle. He directly formed an incantation. It was the heart demon incantation that he had learned from the book yesterday. His body suddenly emitted a strong aura. Under this aura, Huigang's hair moved without wind. His originally clear eyes were gradually dyed with a touch of madness. This caused Huigang's temperament to change completely. If the Huigang before was considered normal, then the current Huigang was more like a bloodthirsty demon. Huigang activated the heart demon incantation in his body, causing his strength to increase sharply in a short period of time. Xiao Xiao suddenly felt the pressure around him increase sharply. The armor on his body was about to be flattened. Xiao Xiao's flying flame meteor and wind rider were completely ineffective. Before they could get close to Huigang, they were sent flying. Xiao Xiao encountered an unprecedented crisis. It was even more difficult than when he was in the yin-yang formation. Yinran saw Xiao Xiao being pressed to the ground from afar. He couldn't even stand up. She raised her gun and aimed at Huagang. However, the tranquilizer bullet was directly sent flying by Huagang's power. Huagang directly took out an invisible rope and fixed Xiao Xiao to the ground. Then, he flew directly towards Yinran. Yinran couldn't dodge in time, and was caught by Huagang. Ha 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 ha. Huagang laughed wildly. You still want to fight with me? One has no spiritual power, and the other is surrounded by devil chi. Aren't you courting death? Xiao Xiao, what else can you do now? Was it you that day? I recognized your fighting style with one glance. You ambushed me when I wasn't prepared. You didn't expect me to profit from a disaster and break through. Did you? Huagang beat Xiao Xiao up with every sentence he said. After a while, Xiao Xiao and his armor were about to be buried in the ground. I'll dig a hole for you right now. You can directly bury yourself here. The feng shui here is good. Then, Yinran and I will be in front of you. We'll let you enjoy your goddess's myriad charms before you die. Chapter 190. Yinran looked at Xiao Xiao, who was about to be buried under the ground, and her heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. She ignored the hand on her neck, and turned her head with difficulty to Huagang. Let go of Xiao Xiao, and I'll follow you. When Xiao Xiao heard Yinran's words, he roared out, No! This cry of despair shook the heavens and earth, as if the heavens and earth were about to cry for him. At this moment, the night sky began to drizzle. It was no longer a gentle drizzle, but a sharp thread that tore at one's heart and lungs. Huagang smiled proudly. You're finally willing to follow me. It seems like this man is quite important in your heart. But, what right do you have to negotiate with me now? I want you too. You must die. Huagang, think carefully. I'm willing to follow you now, as long as you let him go. If you force me, you'll only get me once. At worst, I'll die. This is a very good deal for you. Yinran stared into Huagang's eyes. Huagang caressed Yinran's face, assessing whether Yinran was telling the truth. After a while he smiled coldly. I can let him go, but I'll cripple him so that he can't jump around in the future. Are you willing to do that? Yinran lowered her eyes, and her eyelashes trembled violently. Okay, I promise you. You can let him become an ordinary person. You can't take his life, and you can't let him lose an arm or a leg. Ha 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 ha. It seems like you really have deep feelings for him. You're quite considerate of him. I have another condition. You have to become my woman in front of him right now. No way. Let's leave here. Anything is fine. If you don't agree, I'll say it again. Even if you force me, I'll still want to die. Huagang narrowed his eyes and looked at her for a long time. I know that you, Yinran, always mean what you say. I really want to believe you, but you have to give me some benefits. Huagang caressed Yinran's neck. His cold fingers seeped into Yinran's heart through her skin. Yinran's heart fell into an ice cellar. It seemed that it would not be so easy to make this demon. Huagang released Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was restrained by Huagang and couldn't move at all. He could only let out a desperate roar like a little animal with red eyes. No, Yinran, no, I beg you. Yinran fiercely closed her eyes and turned around. Facing Huagang, she stood on her tiptoes and offered her tender red lips. Huagang was overjoyed. This was the first time Yinran took the initiative to him. Two red lips like rose petals approached him, and a burst of lavender fragrance surrounded him. Huagang took a deep breath in intoxication. Without being polite, he immediately hugged Yinran and kissed her crazily. Yinran originally closed her lips, and only wanted to touch the water lightly. But how could Huagang let her have her way? When the thin lips entered the mouth of a beast, it was like a small boat being swept into a stormy sea. Huagang's whole body trembled with excitement. The sweetness in Yinran's small mouth was even greater than he imagined. Her soft lips and tender lilac tongue greatly stimulated his nerves. Yinran had goosebumps all over her body because of Huagang. She reflexively used her teeth to bite Huagang's tongue. Immediately, the taste of blood spread in her mouth. Unfortunately, this move didn't stop Huagang's attack at all. Instead, he bit his lips and muttered, "So this is what you like? I like it even more." After saying that, The originally devastating entanglement of lips and tongues in her mouth gradually turned into a wild beast's bite. This kind of biting made Huagang more and more excited, and the beast in his body was greatly stimulated. He grabbed Yinran's collar with one hand and fiercely tore it down. A white and tender shoulder was exposed. Yinran was shocked. She used all her strength to push Huagang away. "You promised me not to do it here." Huagang looked at Yinran's mouth full of blood. He licked the blood at the corner of his mouth. "Yinran, I knew it. You're really strong. Then you should fulfill your promise now." Huagang looked at Xiao Xiao, who was desperately struggling on the ground. "This is already a dead dog. I really don't know what you pity him for. Besides this face, what else does he have? After I destroy his face, I guess your thoughts will slowly fade away. You promised me not to harm him in any way. You just had to get rid of his demonic aura. I meant what I said. I hope you will also do the same." Huagang looked deeply at Yinran. "If you follow me in the future, if you're not willing, I will still make trouble for him." Yinran lowered her head. "I know." Huagang laughed loudly. This was the attitude of a victor. He once again pulled Yinran into his arms and fiercely kissed her little mouth. Then he walked to Xiao Zhao's side. Huagang's two hands drew a circle, forming an encirclement. Xiao Xiao was suspended in the air from the ground. The shackles on Xiao Zhao's body were finally removed. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Yinran quickly tore off the totem on her chest and threw it at Xiao Xiao in the air. The moment the totem flew above Xiao Zhao's head, Xiao Xiao silently recited the incantation. A huge wave of spiritual energy instantly enveloped the three people. In the next second, a golden totem suddenly appeared above Xiao Zhao's head. It shone brightly, almost illuminating the entire back of the mountain. The dazzling light made the three people temporarily close their eyes. Next to the totem, a pentagonal pattern of golden needle-like stars slowly emerged. Within each of the spikes, there were 9 small golden swords of different shapes. They filled up the 5 spikes and formed a circular pattern that was ready to be launched. Xiao Zhao's eyes were fixed on the totem. He recited the incantation listed in the book, Ma La Hong Ka. The three people who were enveloped by the totem felt dizzy. When their minds focused again, the scenery in front of them had already changed. On a vast plain, there were rows of soldiers standing on the ground like iron pillars. The weapons in their hands were shining brightly under the sunlight. Their murderous aura hit their faces. However, their eyes were lifeless, like walking corpses waiting for orders. This was the ancient battlefield that Xiao Xiao set up with the totem. Although the totem could be used in Yinran's hands, without the support of spiritual energy, the level of the formation was too low. It couldn't be used for long. However, the totem in Xiao Zhao's hands was combined with the pure and profound demonic energy in his body. The demonic sky formation could display infinite power. Xiao Xiao took advantage of the time when Huagang was still in a daze to recite the incantation of the demonic energy. At the same time, he flew to the side and pushed Yinran to the ground, rolling with her to the side. The originally lifeless soldiers were immediately activated. They rolled over from the horizon like rolling black clouds, wanting to destroy the city walls. Under the sunlight, the soldiers' armor directly pierced Huagang's eyes. The golden light flickered, and the sound of the bugle horn resounded through the sky of the ancient battlefield. The rosy clouds on the horizon condensed the sky into an earthy yellow color. The soldiers, who had been on the battlefield, rushed toward Huagang with an irresistible force. Looking at the boundless sea of people, Huagang was so scared that his scalp was about to explode. His legs involuntarily wanted to retreat. How could the battle-hardened soldiers let Huagang go? A portion of the soldiers had already surrounded Huagang from the back. Huagang had no other choice. He could only brace himself and start fighting. In the beginning, he could still cut the heads of the soldiers around him like cutting melons. Slowly, as the endless number of soldiers came forward, Huagang also felt the pressure. The entire battlefield was surrounded by 3 layers of soldiers inside and outside of Huagang. Xiao Xiao carried Yinran and kept rolling back. They only stopped when they were about to roll to the edge of the battlefield. Finally, the crisis was over. Xiao Xiao and Yinran finally recovered from the suffocating tension. The blood that was about to gush out of their heads flowed back into their bodies. The two gasped for breath and looked back at the sky full of dust and the ant-like crowd. The two hugged each other tightly, rejoicing that they had survived the disaster. Slowly, Xiao Xiao raised his head and looked at Yinran's blood-red lips. He asked in a hoarse voice, "What you said just now, was it true, or was it just a ploy?" Yinran asked Xiao Xiao. At this time, she regretted the expedient plan in a moment of desperation. Suddenly she felt guilty. Her voice was like a mosquito's hum. It was an expedient plan. The last syllable was dragged out, lingering in Xiao Xiao's ears. It was soft and coquettish. Xiao Xiao snorted. "If you really did that, I would hate you to death. I would rather die than let you suffer any harm. How could you bear to torture me like that?" At that time, I didn't have a choice. I just wanted you to be fine. After we get through this, you can come and save me. Yinran's voice became softer and softer. It was so sweet that it made Xiao Xiao's heart feel incomparably comfortable. Xiao Xiao snorted again. Looking at Yinran's irksome red lips, he immediately covered Yinran's little mouth. At first it was still considered gentle. His tongue gently swept across her lips, licking this little mouth clean without leaving a trace. It made people mistakenly think that he was disinfecting her mouth. After licking all of them, his movements suddenly became ferocious. Without any explanation, he pushed his tongue into her little mouth and became unbridled in her mouth. He did not give her the slightest chance to breathe. He kept pressing against her mouth and biting her tongue. It was rare for Yinran to be so obedient. She obediently endured it. A faint numbness and itchiness rose from her lips and quickly drilled into her heart. It was rare for her to take the initiative to roll up her lilac little tongue and touch the root of Xiao Xiao's tongue. A numbness spread from the root of his tongue to his cerebral cortex. Xiao Xiao growled and deepened the kiss as if he was obsessed. He was like a thirsty traveler who had walked in the desert for a long time, wantonly sucking in the maze of Yinran's mouth. The entire battlefield was divided into two parts. On one side, the sound of killing shook the heavens. Hua Gang was surrounded by soldiers. The spiritual energy around his body was released to the extreme. Batch after batch of broken limbs and heads flew into the air. Blood splattered and covered Hua Gang's entire body. On the other side, a pair of lovers kissed in a corner of the ancient battlefield. The sound of horns and the sound of killing became the most pleasant music in their ears. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.